that's kind of the way I had it set up, but I never stuck it in. Was I like wedged it down the other way and put it in as far as I could, and so it was actually resting in here. And it just it seemed a little more stable. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, this looks good.
Okay, so
We're
on the road with BP here again. Hello, internets. It's the internet personality with the actual best hair, and with him as always, Yuli. Always.
So we're driving. So where are we going, Jake?
We're on the forlorn highway between Phoenix and Las Vegas. It is again time for our annual Vegas trip. So this is us on that long, lonely road between Vegas and Phoenix.
Just four of us wolves.
The wolf pack.
Yeah.
I've only seen the movie once. I didn't much care for it, to be honest with you.
It's pretty awesome. The first one is. That's how we should have started.
You should have just ended there.
Yeah.
I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan. It's a little too sitcom-y for my taste.
Anyway.
So, on the road with BP, we were just discussing some things to fill the time. And me and Yuli have been toying around with a horror movie idea, something we could film on one of our annual camping trips every spring.
Yeah.
And we were working title Demon Woods. I'm not such a big fan, but I can't come up with something better. So here we are. And we were discussing a quick breakdown playthrough of the point to which we have scripted, or I guess storyboarded, we'll call them.
Sure.
The idea of where we're at with the story so far.
Spitballing ideas.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're a good, I'd say, third act stinger, right?
Yeah.
So we'll give a quick breakdown of what we have so far, some of our ideas, and just kind of the mood we have set. I'm thinking you do like a student film style, 12-minute long movie at this point.
Well, yeah.
Something to put on the internet. I also have an idea for an opening intro too. So I've been fucking around on Fiverr, getting some stuff done, just checking it out for fun. And something they do is animation.
Really?
Like, yeah, you could basically hire somebody to do like an animated short for you. And so something I thought that might be kind of cool, do it like paintings on a wall, like cave paintings, or paintings on the side of a TV,
right,
for example. Those kind, very cavemanish as far as the art style goes. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Do an animated short of something like that, where it's person getting possessed by a demon going crazy, killing people in the town or whatever village, tribe, whatever you want to call it, and then how they deal with it as best you can, which would basically, in my mind, be you show the demon possession in caricatures on the side of a tent, right? And then you show the demon killing people, and then you would show them capturing it, tying it up, burying it, sacrificing something to it, which will come back into play later.
Yeah, locking it in.
Yeah, basically trapping it.
Right, on the burial ground.
Mm-hmm. One of their sacred burial grounds. And then, okay, boom, that's your opening credits, right? Hard cut to guys getting prepped for a camping trip. So this would be us, the handful of us that go camping every year, sitting outside my house, loading up the gear, bullshitting like we always do. Somebody gets a phone call. Boom, FaceTime, Leon, wife. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Let me see who you're with and what you're doing. Put the camera around. Okay, so it's him waving his little phone around, showing the missus, us packing, who's there, what we're getting ready to do. Us joking like we always do. Maybe burning one before we leave. So, okay, hard cut. Everybody's in the truck, right? We usually take 3 vehicles up, we'll say. 3 vehicles on the way up north. Vehicle 1, me, Leon, talking. Right. It'll be me telling him, the only reason she does that is because she doesn't trust you. Leon getting upset, turning on the radio,
Right.
be like, we got 3 hours, and then boom, turns it up, Spanish music. But you don't even speak Spanish. Boom, turns it up even louder. So it's just me looking out the window, deep sigh, boom, Spanish music blaring in the background. Cut to the next car, boom, everybody's having a good time, listening to music, singing, maybe passing a joint around.
Yeah.
On a joyous one. Boom, cut to the next car. Gary and Luis quietly talking to each other with little classical music in the background. Discussing God only knows what, very boringly.
Yeah.
Okay. Cut to us pulling up to the campsite. And again, we're trying to do this pretty quick, right?
Right.
You don't want to drag any of this out.
No.
So, campsite. Why are we here? And be like, well, that storm washed out our last campsite and the road.
So we had to go deeper into the woods.
Yeah, so this is a new spot deeper in because we had to go around all that mess. Okay, looking around. All right, whatever, seems all right. Instantly, start drinking. It cuts to everybody reaching into the cooler, starting to drink. Starting to pull crap out of the vehicles, starting to set up tents. Somebody's like, Leon's all, hey, look at these weird rocks. So you cut over, boom, and it's like a loose mound of rocks with some animal remains in it. And by remains, I mean like rough bones, because they've been exposed for 100 years, 200 years, who knows, right? It's where they buried the demon at the beginning in the cartoon.
Right.
Okay.
Whoa.
So, from that point on, Leon, completely out of the movie. Never even brought up. Well, let's just say, just completely gone. Never again shown on film. Okay. Everybody's setting up, still drinking, tents going up, people putting on their camping belts, gunning in, fucking cocked and loaded, gun in your pants, putting on your trench coat, all the normal camping stuff. All right.
No, I thought because just spawning the pile of rocks doesn't free the demon.
Doesn't free the demon.
No, what I thought we were talking about, a couple of guys, they go for a hike and then they come across the pile of rocks, and then Leon being Leon decides to take a piss on it because whatever.
Okay. I was thinking more, you just see him start to take the rock pile apart in the background of somebody else's shot, like throwing the rocks over into a pile to do a fire pit.
Oh, okay.
You like the idea? I mean, that's a little more comical. So this was something we talked about. Now that you bring that up, I do remember that. So here we are. Here's first fork in the
You're
road.
thinking removing the rocks.
Yeah, I'm
frees
thinking.
the demon.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Okay.
basically it'll be Leon in the background of the next shot. Because like I said, it'll be me putting on my belt, putting my gun in my pocket, doing whatever, right?
What if Leon takes the rocks off and then takes a piss where the rocks are at?
And then you can even somebody looks over and why are you doing that right there?
Oh, yeah.
At least go over to the trees because it's literally right next.
Yeah.
And then cut to and you can see them both in the same shot.
Yeah.
And it'll be 5 feet away. If they both reached out hands, they could touch each other. Why are you doing that there?
Yeah.
And it's literally just to pee on what's left of the rock pile.
Right. And that's his character.
That's okay. That'll be his character.
That's right. Exactly.
That's Leon.
And I was thinking maybe we bring a little leaf blower or something, and off into the distance we just hit it real quick, so it shows leaves. It's like the spirit.
Okay, so you're thinking we'll do cut the sound and then blow.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking? Two things, and this is what I want to.
That's on the cheap too.
I want to talk about that Fiverr thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because originally when we were talking about this, we were talking about using a smoke bomb or something.
Yeah.
But you can put really small, cheap effects into movies. They'll do it for you. That's why I was going to bring up the eyes thing too.
Yeah.
Where they'll just animate it for 2 seconds. A little thing in the background. You know what I mean? Really cheap. So it's not like a full-blown raptor on screen.
Right.
It's sparks and flashes in the background.
Right.
Kind of out of focus maybe or whatever. So we could put a smoke or almost like an energy wave or something that looks like it's being pull into Leon, let's say, for example,
Oh, okay.
in the background. Because, like I
right.
said, you want to do your magic's going to happen in the background. And so, you know, that gives rewatchability and like, oh, look at how they have it planned out. Because here's me putting shit in my pockets and putting on a big coat in the foreground.
Right.
So you think, oh, but then behind him, in the back of the shot, it's like a Naked Gun sketch, where, you know, they're doing the straight man thing in the front, but in the background, some wacky's happening.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So it'll be like that kind of thing, right?
Right.
So in the background, it'll be Leon somehow show possession. We'll call it.
He could like
Eye flash.
stumble backwards, like a hard, he got hit.
Or almost like real quick, like it was shocked. You know, boom,
Right.
like go, like stand up real fast.
Yeah.
Get like,
Oh, my ass.
no, something hit my
I
ass.
think the demon went.
Something kind of like that,
Yeah.
yes. But again, something quick, easy we could do in the background. You could have him, like he was shocked, real quick,
Yeah.
and then add something over it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, if Birdemic can be made,
Well, yeah.
I think our movie could be made.
And I imagine too, and kind of hear me out on this, right?
Yeah.
Because you're working within your means. So, okay, you got to put in these weird bird graphics as placeholders or whatever. Use it sparingly. Don't dwell on it. Like, if you cut an hour out of Birdemic, well, what is it? An hour and a half long, let's say? If you
Yeah.
cut an hour and 15 minutes out of Birdemic, you could probably put together something that's not, I wouldn't say good, but at least it would be a lot better.
Right.
You know, that's why I'm saying, like, let's not try to film a 2-hour-long movie. Let's do like a 12-minute short. Because I don't want to have to force in a bunch of stuff.
And you know, I can only watch that movie with riff tracks.
And even then it's rough. Just the
Yeah.
sound effects.
It's actually-
That constant bird screeching, it gets kind of
Right.
rough.
It's pretty funny though. I mean,
It is good. Don't get me wrong. They're in rare form.
It's the only way it's palatable.
Palatable.
Palatable
Palatable.
with riff tracks on.
Yeah.
Without it, it's a very boring.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on
But yeah, sounds like we're gonna, do a little bit on our next.
that. Yeah, we could test run it. I
next
have an idea
get
for.
together, which is camping.
Well, it depends. There's a couple of things coming up. If we go in order, just off the top of my head, will be Luis's birthday and Lloyd's birthday combo. Then we have my birthday. Then we have Renfest. Will be the next thing. And then we do like camping prep, which is like the gun show.
Scotty's birthday's coming
We're going up to Vegas for Scotty's birthday.
up. Exactly.
Yes. That was why we came up at the beginning of the month. Because his birthday's on the
October
4th? 5th? Yeah, something like that. So we always go up. If we can't go up for Halloween, which is at the end of the month, if it's not on the weekend, we don't go.
Right.
Because it's not worth it. So we go up at the beginning of October for Scotty's birthday. Happy birthday, Scotty! Every year, it's what we do. And Scotty gets annoyed with it too. Wants you to buy him drinks. Acts like a jerk because it's his birthday. Says stuff like, "We got to do it. It's my birthday." You know, it gets to be a real chore.
Yeah. It's fun though.
All right, so getting back to it. Well, we can do our Vegas talk, but we're right in the middle of our Demon Woods working title
Right.
storyboarding, right?
Right.
So that'll be Leon in the background getting possessed.
Right.
In some manner, even if it's just cheap smoke going into his nose effects or something, right?
Yeah.
Boom. Well, because then whatever we decide to do with the animated part at the beginning to show the position, lightning bolts, or I'm thinking, like a mist or an energy, like an aura that like gets absorbed into him.
I think the mist is better
You do something like that.
instead of energy balls.
You do something like that in the opening cartoon. When I was talking about that.
Yeah.
So, boom. You do the same thing, but just in obviously a less animated form. Looks more realistic. And smoke, it's like cheap and easy.
Right.
It's like the Lost Smoke Monster. Okay, but it all happens in the background. Oh.
Right.
Okay, so you would then cut to us cooking, because we actually have some footage of us from many camping trips. You set a camera up in a tree. It's us preparing food while getting drunk.
Yeah.
Okay. Cut to that night, our annual asshole tournament, and we have a bunch of funny stuff we can do with that. So asshole tournament, we'll do one where somebody grabs me and they go through my pockets, because they always accuse me of cheating because I win too much. I've literally been held with my arms behind my back while they go through my pockets. That's not a joke. That's not an exaggeration.
What is that? A full deck in your pocket?
No. How, you see? And then, you know, so these are just funny things to throw in.
Right.
You're still character building at this point. Okay, so from once you see Leon's possession, he's not in the movie anymore. Okay? Or once you see whoever's possessed, it doesn't necessarily have to be Leon. But once you see the possession, that person's gone from the movie. So
should he be gone though? Maybe he's not the same anymore.
Well, because we're gonna do this. The twist is
you're saying he's gone, but it's at the night.
Yeah, like
okay.
Well, because once you see him possessed,
right.
That's one person already gone.
Maybe he just wanders off.
Well, because
when he gets possessed, you're still like fiddling with your camping gear.
Yeah, everything's
and you just see
happening
him
in the
just
front.
like walk. Like,
yeah, well, that all happens in the background.
He just stands up.
It's more like you see the possession happen in the background, then you cut to a new scene, and after that you just never see him anymore, right? Because he's going to come back later.
Right.
Don't worry about that. That's the twist at the end, is he comes back, but he wasn't actually possessed. Remember?
Oh.
It's just him running into town.
Yeah.
Because he just saw what happened and took off. So it's like he tried to get possessed and took off. Like, oh, there's a crazy monster in the woods trying to possess people. And that's how it ends. Everybody else is dead, except for him, who took off running right at the beginning of the movie. Okay, so that's what you see in the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you cut to it, you never see Leon again.
Right.
Because remember, he's not even the one that's actually possessed.
Right, but everybody thinks.
But everybody, even the people watching the movie, think he's possessed.
Right.
Because that's like the twist.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then so after the asshole tournament, you cut to next morning, right? And this is obviously the implication is heavy drinking. So you're going to see the next morning when the campsite is fucking trashed, because that's just everybody getting fall down drunk the night before.
Right.
Okay, and then somebody else is missing right off the bat. This is another driver, because you're one of the drivers. Because you have 3 people driving up, you will have to start getting rid of drivers, because as soon as something goes bad, one of the cars is going to fill up and everybody's going to go for help.
Right.
Like, I mean, come on, let's common sense this.
Right.
Also, I forgot to mention too, when you get to the new campsite, nobody's phone works.
Right.
Or maybe only one person has roaming, but they're one of the people that's going to disappear. Or I was thinking we could toss somebody's tent and that phone's gone. Oh, I got service. Oh, okay. And then later or the next day, well, nobody's phone works. Well, get his fucking phone. You go and you thought it was just the campsite was all smashed up from everybody getting drunk,
right.
But it turns out one of the tents was turned out, and all the shit's smashed everywhere, and the phone's gone. Okay, because you started to set all that stuff up.
Right.
Okay, so day 2, you wake up in the morning after the long night of drinking, somebody else is missing. Okay, everybody's starting to get a little worried because now one of the drivers is gone. You've noticed now you're missing 2 people out of your party.
Right.
Because nobody was Leon even there last night? Because all the rest of the scenes he wasn't even there. Nobody noticed because everybody's getting drunk. Okay.
And no, I think that's a perfect. I like that. Has anybody seen Leon?
Yeah.
I don't even think he was with us all night.
Because
let's check our phones because we recorded.
Yeah.
And when we're like, we're going through our video and it's all funny and stuff. But then in the background of that video, that's where you see
You see the eyes?
the eyes deep into the woods.
Well, here's one of the cuts, right? So
the fuck
somebody's already possessed, right? But they're not in the video.
Right.
So when you show the video with the eyes in the background, they're the eyes in the background.
Right.
But, you don't notice. So Leon's not there and somebody else is in that shot. Even a couple of people could be missing. And there's only a couple people in the shot.
Right.
It's like me shuffling the cards, like actually cheating. because everybody else is gone, and so I'm like going through the deck and like pulling out a 2 or something.
Yeah.
Like that's what's happening, right? In between shots, and so it's like I don't know. Who cares if I'm fucking cheating? Look at the background, and you see the eyes light up in the background. You know, like I don't care. Whatever, I'm cheating. Who gives a shit?
Is that Leon? That can't be him. Nobody projects red eye. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's not a person.
That's not a-
People's eyes don't just glow. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so that's all right. Now shit's starting to get real. So second day, it's us going and trying to find the missing people.
Yeah.
Okay, and you realize now one of the drivers is gone. So whatever. So maybe somebody takes the second car and goes into town to try to see if people are on the road out of town. But at least one of the drivers are missing at this point. One of the drivers are the possessed one at this point. And so you got to do something. So, okay, now we're starting to look for the phone.
Right.
Now the second driver comes up. I can't find my keys. You know, okay, you go over, somebody went through their shit too.
Right.
And all of a sudden you're like, maybe we didn't get shit down, you know, like fall down drunk and smash up the campsite. Maybe somebody was going through all of our stuff and taking phones, taking keys, you know, like trapping us basically.
Right.
Okay? And then now you start fighting. Oh, that's what I said. Why are we so fucking far out? You know, we're 20 miles to the road. We're 30 miles to town. You know, you start going on with these numbers like, you know, it'll take me 2 days to walk out of here. That's the point. You know, that kind of fighting. Don't put this shit on me. I didn't take the goddamn keys.
Yeah.
And,
I like it.
Yeah. And then that's basically it. Then that night, everybody's like, you know, you start hearing weird things. Everybody's gathering up in one tent.
Yeah.
You hear some strange noise outside. Somebody else is missing. At this point, it has to be at least 2 of the people. So basically, somebody's sleeping in one of the tents. Somebody else is going to come over, or 2 people are in one tent, and somebody else is going to come over and be like, what the fuck is that noise?
Yeah.
And then you're going to be like, oh, okay. So you're going to flashlight out into the darkness. That's where you see the eyes reflected, right? It's like somebody's looking around a tree, but it's a blacked out face with reflective eyes.
Yeah.
That's something else you do on Fiverr, right? Boom, make them flash.
Right.
And then so you hit it with the flashlight, and then you'll have the reflective tape on there. And then when you hit it with the flashlight, boom, we'll edit in just a real quick 1 second flash or something, right?
Right.
Okay, so somebody in the tent rushes out there. Oh, I fucking got him. You know, gun out, runs around the fucking tree, you know, because it's like 20, 30 yards away.
Right.
And then, oh, what the fuck? And then you come running over and you just see like bloody legs, all tore up. It looks like a bear got to him.
Oh, okay.
And you're like, oh shit, that's another one of the drivers right there.
Yeah.
So the one driver that's left, that's the possessed one.
Right.
One driver's been missing for days, right? Because you're on day 2.
Right.
And then one of the drivers is dead right in front of you right there. So basically everybody's stuck because you don't have keys. None of the phones are working.
Yeah.
You know? Dude, one of the drivers is missing. One of the drivers is dead. The other one, I don't know what happened to my keys. Look at my tent was the first one we found that was all smashed out.
So how does are we still sticking with the like I thought we were gonna do the everybody gets in one car or
that's how it ends. So however you want to go from that point,
like 2,
I got the keys right here because 2 people are missing, one person's dead.
Right.
So that's and then one person's possessed.
Right.
And then so you have a couple other people that are left. I mean that's 6 people.
They all hop in one car.
The 3 people that are left, or 4 people that are left.
Yeah, the 3 people.
Yeah, whoever's left.
And the guy possessed is driving.
And then it turns out, oh, I got the keys. And somebody goes through the corpse or something. Or, oh, by the corpse the next morning, everybody, you're going to go bury your friend. You're going to go see what the fuck happened.
You're going to bury your friend. You're trying to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, so you're going to go the next morning to go see because you were just saw it briefly at night with a flashlight.
Right.
And you really see how tore up they are. You're like, oh, what the fuck?
And so then the ending is the possessed driver driving the car off the cliff.
Or I don't even think you want to even drive it off the edge. You want a sequel bait. So it's just them leaving, right? Whoever's left.
Okay. Right.
And then just a quick look into the review mirror or something equally as... Not the mirror. Nothing to do with the mirrors.
Right.
You'll just see them because they'll be driving, so it'll be from the outside, right?
Right.
And then they'll just like, eyes flash, boom, put on your sunglasses, and then off into the day. Right? Because that leaves it open. And then you do your brief credits because, you know, the whole thing's real short. Right? And then you hard cut to, you know, you hear the running, and then it's Leon, like running into town because here we are 2 days later or whatever. That's how long it took him to get to town. And he just ditched everybody. He said, fuck the cars, fuck it all. And he just footed it out of town. Footed it to town because we're going to be way out in the middle of nowhere. You know, that's the point. We're hours from anywhere. The next, it's not even a town. It'll be a gas station or whatever. You know, one of those little convenient marts. You know, that all the Lokes use. And that thing's 30, 40 miles away. You know.
We could do that Circle K.
The Circle K, yeah. That's perfect. Or we could do you could show it going in, you know, that little convenience store, not convenience store. The little mart, where they don't let us use the bathroom anymore.
Thanks to you.
You can't, okay, no, you can't say because of me. Think about this logically. How many people drive through that shitty little town? There's like 2 bathrooms. It's like that or the Lodge.
You tore up that bathroom so bad. That
so many times.
They put a portage on instead outside.
Yeah, they don't even let people go into the bathroom inside anymore. And they had a nice bathroom too. It was heated. It was like a house bathroom. It was nice. I liked it, especially when you're camping. So that's it basically. And then, you know, the whole thing will be 12 minutes long. So you're not going to get bored watching it.
Right.
You're not going to have 20 minutes of filler watching me in my underwear drink like 3 beers. You know, sitting out and somebody's like, oh, I can smell your gooch from here because of the way I'm sitting. I just like to lounge with my legs open and then cut to me and it's me in my underwear like with my legs on the armrest. Like, how are you even sitting like that? It's not comfortable. You know, you cut a lot of that out. And then, somebody sees it and they're like, all right, these guys got some real talent. All right, let's make a real movie, blah, blah, blah. Then we'll talk about flushing it out to 90 minutes.
Movie with a real budget.
Yeah, with actual actors. The attractive people in it.
Of course, your guy's going to be played by Jack Black.
No, it'll still be me.
No.
Obviously, this is a vehicle to highlight not only my acting abilities, but my writing and directing. Because I'm trifecting this bad boy. Written, filmed, directed. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to put the score to it. I'm going to have the music. I mean, you know, like I'm literally putting in my own music.
I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so?
Speaking of music,
did
you hear who died yesterday?
Coolio?
Yeah.
Gangsta's Paradise.
That's where he's at now.
Bitch, man, you know, I'm surprised they don't play that more.
More funerals? Or?
No, just since he died.
Oh, right.
You know, like that, I'm surprised they're not like, every time they talk about it. He won a Grammy for that. So that's like an award-winning song. He was one of the very first rappers to win that kind of award.
I'll have to fact check you on that.
Well, it's unfortunate you don't get service on it. But by the time you think about it, you'll be watching this after I post this. There's no need to fact check. China did it first. Fact.
Yeah, that sucks. He was only 59.
Well, he said he wasn't going to make it to 60. 29, not going to make it to 60.
And, so they haven't said...
Well, they said they didn't find any drugs at the place where he died.
They were all in them.
Could be, or if you were like me, you'd probably flush it. Oh, shit! A 911!
Yeah. I saw a funny skit. I can't remember. It was like they found their buddy dead or something, and then it's like don't call 911 yet. And then they made it look like
okay.
Like it was a suicide.
Yeah, here's what I'm seeing. Here's just in my mind. If you're going comedy skit, okay, so you take your boy, you put a belt around a doorknob, and his neck, and he pulls his pants down. You know, like
the opposite.
so the police show up, and it looks like he killed himself
Erotic
masturbating.
asphyxiation.
Yeah. You know, just don't tell his family. He would appreciate the joke. You know, something along those lines. That's what I'm imagining.
He's
That would be
down
my
there
sketch.
smiling at us.
Yeah.
Looking up.
I'm gonna have Gangsta's Paradise stick in my head all day.
Oh yeah. It's a solid song.
Well, you know,
It's
growing up a
so-
poor white boy
It was so
on the
good.
west side.
Weird Al Yankovic made a parody of it. And Coolio got pissed.
You saying Coolio had beef with Weird Al?
Oh yeah.
It truly was a simpler time.
It really was.
It really was. That ain't a joke. That ain't hyperbole. Hyperbole. I don't know what this guy's deal is. This Acura here.
Yeah.
It's like I'm driving 85, 80, 90,
Yeah.
and they're just back and forth. In front of me, slow down, I go around. You get in front of me, slow down, I go around. I don't understand. You know, we were kind of talking about driving earlier, and obviously every time we had the same gripe, you know, slow traffic, keep right, let's keep out of the fast lane.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've had this problem, and this has angered me, incredibly angered me, where I'll be stuck behind somebody, right? And they're not willing to drive any faster. Then I have a chance to go around them, and instead of speeding up the whole time, they speed up so I can't get around them. And it's like, why would you drive slow, obviously to slow me up,
Right.
and then when I have the chance to go around you, you won't let me. You know, like you'll speed up and block me from doing it. It's like, if you're not willing to drive that fast, why would you stop me from driving that fast?
Maybe they got beat as a child.
You think so? Maybe they have maybe they get beat by their spouse now,
Yeah.
and they have so little control in their life that they want to inconvenience others to have some sort of modicum of control over somebody else's life. No,
Could be true.
it could be. That was actually Steph's. I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, it's an interesting idea, but I had that coming back from camping one time, which is what made me think of it. Me and Nick were driving back down the mountain
Right.
after one of our annual camping trips, and I got stuck behind this woman, and she was keeping pace with the car next to her. So I did what I always do, flash the lights, get up on them.
Yeah.
Okay, she obviously didn't appreciate that. So the opportunity came up for me to go around her.
Right.
So I did. But as soon as I tried to get around her, she sped up. And so I really had to give it some gas just to get in front of her.
Right.
To the point where Nick was like, "Oh my God, Jake!" Because he thought I was going to smash into the car in front of us because we had such a limited window.
Right.
And she came quick because I was really giving it some gas. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she came quick.
Remember,
I'm slowing down.
not just that, but I got to take a piss.
Did you see a place? Oh, you thinking this crappy little town?
Yeah, there should
I don't
be
know,
some-
Yuli. I mean, I get it, you gotta go to the bathroom or whatever, but we're kind of in the middle of Podunk, and I'm not looking too white these days. I spend a lot of time in the sun. Give me a break.
on the roof.
Spend a lot of time on the roof. It's nice because I'm alone.
Yeah, sometimes that works.
I don't know. That really angered me. And it was to the point where,
Oh,
like,
right.
I had to make, like, a maneuver.
And then did you slow down?
No, I didn't. And it was so funny, too, because as soon as I got in front of her, she hit the brakes because she thought I was going to brake check her.
Oh, right.
And I didn't. I was like, fucking bitch. And I just kept going.
Right.
Because I don't care. I just don't want to get held up.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I get it. But if I'm going to go around you,
Right.
you're actively trying to stop me. It's like, now all of a sudden it's becoming
It's
antagonistic.
vindictive, right.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't care. I could care less about you. I could care less about what you think, about how fast you drive. But when you stop me from going around,
Right.
it's like, now we're running into some problem. Pilot,
Either or, doesn't matter.
you see one on this side?
Shell.
On this side, I said?
No.
All right, I
Oh,
see
there's
one on this
76.
side. Yeah. I'd rather make a right turn out into traffic. So we'll go to that 76. Oh, I think we can take some pictures while we're here. Well, because then I can cut it into the movie or the video, right?
Oh, okay.
And it'll be like, because they have like the bars where it's like, oh, jail.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll take some fun little pictures, and then I'll. Looks like 76 isn't open. Yeah, I know. But I'd rather we not have to do that.
I want to talk to a police officer.
Yeah, I'll save it.
Public, is it exposure?
I think you're right. I think that's what it is. It's like a sexual offense. We're going up Schleckman Way, right?
Yeah.
So we were coming up through northern Arizona to come back. And it ended up being stopped in some shitty pass-through town. And there was like a railroad museum, right?
Yeah.
And it says from the highway, oh, right down this road, historic road, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I look down, I'm at about a quarter of a tank. All right. How far can it be? It's fucking 30 miles down this fucking road. And there's nothing. There is nothing between the highway and that place. It's just 30 miles through the fucking desert to this old railroad museum, which is like 2 rooms in one building.
Yeah.
And some shit outside.
You ended up going?
Yeah, we went. And I was like, oh, a quarter of a tank, that's plenty. So we get like halfway there, fucking gas light comes on.
Right.
And I'm like, how much farther could it be? We'll just go over there and then we'll get it to the next. So we get out there, we're dangerously low on gas. Oh, because it's 30 miles each way.
Yeah, running on fumes.
Running on fumes. So we go, obviously I don't let Stephanie or the baby know that there's any problems. And then I'm like, okay, I talked to the guy and I'm like, look, I'm about to run out of gas. Where's the closest fucking gas station? He's like, well, back the way you came. I was like, fuck. So I talked to a couple guys while I'm there. So I meet this guy who's got a Jeep, a big open top Jeep.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I got a couple extra cans of gas. And I look and he has those big metal gas cans. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. I just need like 2 gallons. And he's like, but I don't have any way to get them out.
Are they called Gary can?
I'm not sure what they're called. Jerry cans?
Yeah, I think they're...
Gary, we'll call them Gary cans. So he's got 2 of these Gary cans of gas.
Maybe it is Jerry.
But he doesn't know. He's like, I have no way to get it out. And I'm like, well, what fucking good is having these 2 goddamn cans of gas or whatever, if you can't use it? So I'm like, all right, buddy.
Yeah, it is Jerry can.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, buddy. Thank you. So we get in and we start driving back. And I'm like, it's in the desert, it's summer, because it's our summer California trip.
Yeah.
I think it was actually our 9/11 trip. So it was still pretty hot. Because we were coming back at the beginning of September. And so, driving back through the desert, back to whatever this pass-through ass fucking California, Arizona border town is. And it's like, by the time we got back, I'm turning off the air conditioner, like, oh, it's getting hot here, oh, don't worry about it. I need some fresh air. You know, like I'm speeding. Well, whatever. The sooner we get there.
Right.
By the time we get back, it said the range was 10 miles.
Wow.
By the time we got back to the gas station. And so that, I was like, oh my God.
Just barely made it.
I just barely made it. I've never been, it was me and
Ass
you.
was puckered up.
Who cares? Oh yeah. My fucking heart was racing. I'm like, you know what? We're going to stop by the candy store. Get a nice big piece of chocolate. Maybe a sandwich. Maybe some time to relax. Because, what do you imagine? Miles trek through the California desert to get to the gas station to buy gas to get back. And then what? I can't leave my wife or my kid. I can't leave them at the car or at the gas station. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I would have, all 3 of us would have to go. I mean, like, I'm not going to get in a car with a stranger. I'm going to hijack somebody. Like, I'll bring back the car, I promise. Like, what are my options? California's like the serial killer capital in the world. And there's so many people pass through California.
Right.
And you can tell this was one of those towns where literally 2 million people drive through every year. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, right.
Because they're coming from, it's the northern Arizona highway that goes, from the east coast to the west coast.
Talking about the 10?
It's not the 10. We were way farther north than that. We were like on the northernmost edge of the state. And because we came through and we went through, what's that? Laughlin?
Yeah.
It's right there. We went through Laughlin. So like that far north. So we were on like the California, Nevada, Arizona border.
Okay.
And that's where, I mean, like I said, 2-3 million people drive through that town every year. Like, you don't want to leave. I couldn't leave them unattended. What am I going to do?
No.
Oh, it was driving me insane.
But luckily.
And I'm not a big worrier. So I'm not like, my body's not equipped to handle it. I was not ready for that. And so now it's like, no, we'll just stop. I'm not going through that mess again. So it's like an ingrained in me. It's like, I don't care how much it costs. We'll stop, we'll put a couple gallons in. That'll at least get us another 60 miles or whatever.
What does this get on the
20
highway?
if I'm lucky.
On the highway?
Yeah.
Really?
20 something maybe, it probably says.
Yeah.
But low 20s, I bet, if that.
That's good.
It's not bad. I don't complain, especially for a 4x4. I don't complain at all.
The Dodge has a truck. It's got a small diesel engine in it.
Okay.
And that one gets you 35 miles on the gallon.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I've been looking into,
A full tank,
yeah.
if you're just doing highway miles, will give you a little over 700 miles.
Yeah, that's amazing. I bet this thing probably has a 300 mile range.
Probably.
If that. Because I don't feel like we've driven up 300 miles.
No.
And we already had to stop and put something in it.
Right.
And we're just, barely getting to the border.
Really? We're getting there.
So however far that is, what's that, 200 miles?
Isn't there a scenic view here?
Well, they call a lot of things scenic views that I don't necessarily agree with. They have a place that you can stop and look at the wilderness or whatever you want to call it, the vistas.
The vistas?
But I wouldn't call it a scenic view.
No.
If you can see what I'm seeing, this is ugly as shit. So I was swapping around real quick.
Oh, the Joshua trees?
Swap on the camera. Yeah, let's see how that works.
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
So just to give you some idea of the scenic vistas that we're talking about, this is what it looks like. Shit brown with green dots on it, as far as the eye can see. We've been driving through this for hours.
Where else are you going to see this stuff?
So that might be a fun feature. If we get stuck behind some jackass or we want to add some, so a little change of pace. Some people want to look at our mugs for too long. That's actually why I wear these sunglasses, because they're like reflective.
Yeah.
So if you put it up on a big TV, like I use, you can probably see the road in these sunglasses. That's me. I'm constantly thinking cinematic. How would this look? What would this look like?
Right. There goes your weekend warrior.
We stopped and put gas in the car and just blew past him a second time. Weekend warrior. I told you that truck's not big enough to tow that fucking thing. He's getting outpaced by a semi hauling fucking gravel or something. It's like, god damn.
It's not his fault. He's driving a Dodge.
He's not used to driving something so big. And yeah, you're right. That piece of shit. You gotta have, what, a 350 or something?
Oh, it's right here. You pulled off.
You might pull off. I'm gonna stick it out to the end kind of guy. I'm a finish inside kind of guy. I hate it when people tow trailers.
Yeah.
This guy, he's got a tow rig with 3-4 trailers on it.
4 trailers.
4 trailers. He's not just some jackass towing a trailer. He's a jackass towing a rig with 4 trailers. I'm going to say I'm actually kind of impressed. But how funny is it that he's outpacing that fifth wheel?
Oh, there goes that other Acura.
Look at how are we blowing past all these people again? Boy Racer wants to run. I'm telling you, I constantly have to press on the brake.
Oh, yeah. Hold them back.
Yeah, right? It can't be helped. Whoa, girl, whoa.
Vegas.
We're about to cross the border into Nevada. looks like we're about 11 miles from the border.
Nice.
Already in the mountains. Oh, it's probably got to be this uphill. So I guess there's one last mountain before we get to the dam.
I think so.
And this is where the boy racer really shines.
Have you been seeing those videos of Lake Mead shrinking?
I have.
Turning too fast?
I've seen the memes. You know the problem? There's so many people pulling off of that hill. And you know the real problem is we're in a bidding war with California. And I can tell you there's no way our conservative ass government is going to outbid fucking California on anything. If they want our water, they're just going to buy it. And I can guarantee you the government would sell it. Or however that works. You know?
Yeah.
If they're going to pay more for it, they're going to get the higher priority. Yeah.
That's, I mean, for now, because the election's coming up.
Well, yeah.
Do you think Kerry Lake's going to sell our water?
Kerry Lake would sell you water in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
That's the fear, is somebody like Kerry Lake. Kerry Lake is a Fox News reporter, a local affiliate of Fox News here in the wonderful state of Arizona. And ever since I was a small child, she's been our local Fox 10 affiliate, Kerry Lake. And nobody knew that there was anything off about her. She used to do spotlights with gay people. She brought trannies on. Famous locally for her drag shows, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, Trump, you know, and then you find out these people, it's like learning your best friend's communist, or he's a fucking part of KKK or something. It's like, what's that robe in there? Oh, that's my MAGA hat. You didn't know? And it's like, ah, shit. And she ended up being crazy. So crazy and peddling so many lies that they fired her from the local Fox 10 news affiliate, blah, blah, blah. Fox 10, the local outlet, where they're way more extreme, was able to, they just straight up fired her because she kept telling lies, and they told her to stop, and she didn't stop, so they fired her. And now she's running for governor of the great state of Arizona. And literally,
she's not too far behind Katie Hobbs.
Katie Hobbs is the former mayor of Phoenix, which is the 5th largest city in America. She was very liberal, Democrat, but her claim to fame is her police force was the most violent towards civilians in the country. So when I say that, I mean like civilians being assaulted by police, civilians being shot by police. The Phoenix police force specifically is one of the worst, and then the Maricopa County, which is like where Phoenix is in, they're the worst or something like that in the country. Like number one. And you know, they talk about police killing civilians. You know, oh, this guy got shot by the cops, this guy got shot by the cops.
Right.
Oh, some black guy gets shot by the cops, and it starts a riot. But it's crazy out here because it's like more than once a week somebody gets killed by the police, but nobody ever hears about it. They don't even talk about it on the local news. It's like, you know, I think they average 72 deaths or something a year. I think one year was 140.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like, it's like magnitudes. You know, the next highest one's like 50. And then here's us like 2 or 3 times the average. The numbers were just through the roof. It was crazy.
Right.
And the problem is, in Arizona, is police aren't required to report every time they pull out a gun, only when they shoot somebody. So, you know, like, if you took out, like, every time the police pulled a gun on somebody, the number would be staggering. But when it's, like, comes to shooting somebody, you know, we're, like, the number one area. And Katie Hobbs, specifically, her police force, which was the Phoenix police, were really bad at it. You know, they're like the 3rd in the country for violence against civilians. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah. And, well, she hasn't really done speeches or done, what's it called, debates with...
Yeah, she refuses to debate Kerry Lake.
So
which,
I really don't know who she is.
Well, she
Other
was...
than she's running against Kerry Lake.
Well, it's true. Kerry Lake has a lot of name recognition. Katie Hobbs does too, because she's been the mayor of Phoenix. But, I mean, you understand the strategy. is this is a Trumper, right? Katie Hobbs is, or I'm sorry, Carrie Lake is pushing the, you know, Trump won,
Right.
or whatever, you know, all that.
Election was stolen.
Yeah, all that crazy stuff. You know, she was an anti-vaxxer. You know, like all the worst side of it. All that QAnon stuff. That's exactly what she was. So I think it would be perfect. They should both get on stage. I would recommend she do it because then, oh look at how crazy this fucking dingbat is,
Right.
and then she would just be like, she could be. It doesn't matter as long as she's less crazy than fucking, you know, Lake. Then
Right.
she basically wins. And so you see, she's like, I'm not even going to bother. Is her kind of mindset.
Right.
She'll do a town hall, and where she'll floor questions and do that, but she doesn't want to share stage. That
Right.
was her thing. And so you can ask her all the questions you want, but she doesn't want. But I'm like, just debate her. Just fucking do it.
Right.
But I mean, I see where she's coming from. Just give her enough rope to hang herself. She's going to be like, you see, they won't let Trump, blah, blah, blah. And there's actually a lot of registered Republicans in Arizona, higher than the national average. But we have a very limited voting system. So you only get to vote in the primaries for your specific party. You know, I'm sure a lot of places like that.
Right.
And so we have a pretty big, I don't want to say conservative party, but like Republican Party presence in Arizona. And it doesn't take much for the fringe to actually get their candidate in. They said that Carrie Lake, they said Lake
Right.
was only voted in by like 200,000 people or something like that.
Oh.
And if you think about the actual voting body, which is millions of people
Right.
across the state, it was a very small number actually decided who came in on the Republican side. And that's why Carrie Lake
Got primary.
got she dominated the primaries. Not even really, because I think somebody else was close, but
Oh yeah, it was. It was a lot more stable.
yeah, it was a lot more centrist, they call it,
Yeah.
where they're like they're not so radicalized, they'll say.
Like Robeson Taylor Green or something.
Yeah, he was a businessman, you know, an establishment candidate for
Are you
sure.
sure it was a guy? I thought it was a girl.
There may have been. I don't follow too closely, to be honest with you. And it was a wide field. So there was I think 7 people that were running against her.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
of Republicans
exactly.
trying to get on the ballot.
And so that's why.
Trying to get primary.
Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly. I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about, and I'm not sure.
I think it was Robeson Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, I have no idea. And so that's it. And so it was a very small actual percentage of not only the voting body, but of actual people in Arizona that put Carrie Lake on for the Republican side. And there was actually some really funny strategy in this election that the Democratic Party did nationwide, where they actually backed a bunch of Trumper candidates, so that when the actual election came on, it would be, you know, these crazy Trumpers against moderate Democrats. And so they're hoping that this strategy pays off. And I'm hoping it does too, because if a bunch of crazy people get elected, then you're going to have a lot of fucked up laws. And, you know, while I am not a lot of things, I don't have a problem with people doing or being them. And that's, you know, interracial marriage, gay people, trans people, you know. I say let them be what they want to be. I don't give a shit. That's their choice, not mine. But those are the kind of laws that, you know, are really going to get stepped on. Already it's happening. They just had a territorial ban of abortion go active in Arizona, which basically outlaws all abortion. So no carve-outs for incest or rape or time.
You said that law was made before Arizona was even a state.
Yeah, it was a territorial law.
Okay.
Yeah. That's exactly correct. And it was like the 1800s, like 1865.
Right.
I'm not sure the exact date,
Yeah,
you know, but
I
it was
think-
something like that.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, it was funny because I argue with people all the time. And I don't think, you know, just because a woman is pregnant, I don't think a baby, me, a politician, nobody should be able to tell anybody else what they can do with their body. And I mean, if that argument comes down to abortion, I don't think just because a baby, what gives anybody else the right to tell anybody else what they can do with their body?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care what the fuck you believe. You know, you have no say. You should. I don't know. I don't like telling people what to do. I don't
Once
think
they can tell you what you can do, then
yeah,
it's the erosion. It's the beginning of losing your freedoms.
I make this analogy all the time. Once you lose body autonomy, like, oh, okay, she can't have an abortion because of baby's life, right? Okay, so let's draw this out a little bit more. Okay, so say there's a car accident and they need your blood to keep somebody else alive. Okay, can they just take it? Say a politician gets sick and he needs a kidney transplant and you happen to match it. Well, it saves a life, right? If he would die without it, why can't they take it from you and use it? And I'm telling you, these are body autonomy issues, which is exactly, it gets distilled down to the abortion debate, right? Oh, it's abortion, this or that, boom. But it encompasses a lot more than that. Vaccines, forced vaccinations,
Right.
if it saves a life, right? You're saving those babies, right? So you got to force them to get vaccinated because that's going to save babies' lives.
So I don't think it would stop there.
That's what I'm saying. It's not going to stop an abortion.
No.
It's going to go to vaccines. It's going to go to organ harvesting. Okay, that might be a little alarmist or whatever, but think about it. As soon as some powerful person...
But I don't even think it's going to be... that's not the end game. It's not like just sit on your... what you're saying. I think it would be more like the enslavement of the
It's for your own good.
Right.
This way you can't eat salt or
Kind of
drink
like
caffeine.
a George Orwellian type future, where you have to stand in front of a camera.
Yeah, for a certain amount of day. Yeah, you have to conform and fall into line.
Right. Did you
There's
ever
been
read
a
that book?
time. Oh, 1983?
1984.
1984. No, I've claimed online in many arguments to have read the book, but no, honestly, I've never read it.
I've read it a handful of times.
Not me. I'm not a big fan of classic literature.
It's
And
good. It's kind of scary though, the way.
how right he was
Yeah.
in a lot of things, especially now with the surveillance state that we live under. And I mean that by like cell phones and stuff, like every text message, every conversation, every picture, every FaceTime, every email. You know, like they have all of it. There ain't no stopping that. You gave it to him. You said, oh, you didn't read TOS? Google gets access to every picture and cell phone number and message and everything that you use on their network. So does Verizon, AT&T, and the government just gets blanket fucking.
The service is so good though.
Is it though?
Is that why you're on it?
No,
Or are
I'm
you
on
on Mint Mobile?
I'm actually on Verizon myself. And I'm on it because as a responsible adult, I have to have cell phone service everywhere I go. And more important than me having it, my wife and my daughter have it. So I need the best network nationwide.
Oh, what did you give your daughter?
Her first cell phone, 6, but she dropped it in the toilet or something. But she dropped it in the toilet or something. And so I didn't give her one for like 2 more years, so probably 8 or 9.
So you think 8 or 9 years would be a better age?
Well, the only problem with giving it to her so young was she wasn't responsible. Like I said, I don't know if she dropped it in the sink or the toilet. She never really told me exactly what happened, but she was in the bathroom with it and got wet and ruined.
What about now? Is she responsible with it?
Oh yeah, now she's great. She's so good with her phone now that she had her last one for years, and I actually gave it to Leon. When I upgraded Jackie's phone. I just upgraded it to the brand new, you know, because she just graduated elementary school and started middle school. So as a graduation present, I bought her the biggest, fanciest phone. Yeah, and she loves it, and she takes great care of it. And a big part of it is knowing what kind of case to get for her. So I bought her one of those 3-piece cases that has a front protector, back protector. It's like a silicone sleeve, and then it has a back piece and a front piece. And the front piece is clear plastic that covers the screen. It's got a big lid. They're not expensive. I think I spent $20 on it,
Right.
and it's practically indestructible. And the screen gets all scratched up, but it's the plastic screen protector, so there's no problems with it. And I buy her probably one a year because they get pretty beat up.
Right.
And I've never had a problem. For years, ever since I started using it, she's never had a problem with her phone. And she's really good at it. She has a special purse. You know, she's just that age where she's carrying a purse now, but she's always got her phone in her purse, and she's got headphones that come out of her purse. Yep. She good. She's really good. Just as a kid goes. You know, she's real responsible, surprising. Can't get her to do her homework for shit. But she takes good care of her stuff.
It's rare for a kid to want to do homework.
Yeah, but I mean, how do I make her understand that, you know, if she'll just do her homework without fighting me on it, because she's going to have to do it no matter what.
Right.
But if she would just do it without fighting me on it, I'll give her anything she wants. I'll give her hundreds of dollars. I'll buy her a TV. You want a cat? I'll give you a cat. Anything. Name it. And I've told her this flat out. Like, if you just do your homework and get good grades, there's nothing I won't do for you. I'll take you on trips. You know, I'll buy you anything you want.
Yeah.
Like, you could live in a way that I never lived. She's of that generation where, you know, all the kids are trans or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she's an ally. And so I'm trying to get her to read the Harry Potter books because she's 11.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you got to start reading them now. You know, because that's...
They're so magical.
Yeah, and she's like, well, I don't want to support... And I was like, how do you have that talk with an 11-year-old of separating the art from the artist? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's so much better. I don't care if she hates trans people. You don't
Does
even
she?
know... yeah.
Really?
You've never heard that? Oh, yeah.
J.K. Rowling?
Oh, yeah, she's big anti-trans.
I thought you said, okay.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Vosh was like, he said something to the effect of, if she could have just kept her mouth shut, she would have been universally beloved for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But she came out with all this anti-trans stuff. And so, you know, she's so popular and so famous that there's all these people, rabid supporters of her. So if you come out and speak out against her, you know, you can get attacked online, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, could you imagine that, though? Like, she's anti-trans for some reason.
I think it's, I don't know, but I know why some people may be not anti-trans, but like Joe Rogan, he was saying how they go too early on a child when it's like trans, right?
Okay,
Or like,
so
why can't you just let
you're
your
saying
child-
they're trying to normalize them. They're trying to normalize trans people.
Well, not normalize it, but like start injecting these little kids with hormone blockers or whatever, or give them hormones, right? Because
Okay.
they think they feel either one way or the other.
All right.
What he's saying is like you're messing with their body development way too early, and you're doing this to, I don't know, 10-year-olds, you know, that are still developing.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I'm not against trans people, but you have to wait until at least the kid's 18, right?
Yeah, but I mean, think of how few actual cases you're talking about.
Right.
I mean, you can take the most extreme of any example. So you're against homeschool, you're against public school, you're against private school, whatever. You can always take the most extreme examples and be like, we should never do this because, you know, three people are giving their kids hormone blockers when they're 10. It's like, okay, that's child abuse.
But it's not.
But it really is.
But
and
it's
most
not.
people aren't going to
But that's
argue
what
with that.
he's arguing.
But the thing is,
Because
it's
if
such
it
a
was
small
child abuse,
percentage.
they wouldn't allow it, but they do allow it.
But they don't.
They
It depends
do.
on where you are.
Exactly.
So
Some
some places
states-
do, some places don't.
Right.
Some parents do, some don't. Some kids want it, some don't.
Right.
That the percentage is so small. You're talking about in the trans community, 1 in a million. You know, so it's like one in a million of
so
one in a
because-
million.
Because it's 1 in a million, you can't talk about it?
No, I'm saying
No?
you can't hold it up as an example because it's the farthest most extreme.
Because it
I'm
can
just
be
saying-
no, but they're saying because it can get away with it, then you should talk about it. Like you said, you called it was child abuse. Right?
Yeah, but I'm not saying people
Then-
shouldn't talk about it. I'm just saying, you know, people use that kind of example as an excuse to be anti-trans. Like you're saying, they do it too young. This is why trans is
did
bad.
they label her as anti-trans, or was she talking about that, and then they just automatically?
No, hers was
her?
a lot more spiteful towards trans people.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like jokes at trans people expense kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you know, I'm talking more about that as an example, right?
Mhm.
You know, because they're always going to go to the most farthest fringes. But you can, again, make this argument with anything. So we should never have universal health care because some illegal immigrant might get free service.
Mhm.
So nobody gets it
Right.
because the farthest extreme worst. Or we need to censor speech because Nazis are going to use it to blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but that's not why you should do what? Well, how does that make sense? You don't take the farthest, most extreme and be like, well, this is why we can't have trans because there's a handful of trans kids that are getting hormone blockers at a young age.
Right.
It's like, but you can't use that as an excuse to be anti-trans. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nobody's saying don't talk about it. When you say expose them to it, you're talking about like reading out or taking a kid to see a drag show or something, right? That's exposing kids to it. That's talking to them about it. That's explaining what it is and its place in society.
Uh-huh.
You know, like trans people aren't these evil,
Nobody
you know.
said that.
I'm just saying, well, they do use it. If you listen to the rhetoric about anti-trans people, they say things like, oh, they use it to groom children. Oh, it's just going to be a guy using this as an excuse to hide in the bathroom
I've heard that
and
word
attack
before.
a woman.
You know, they're calling it groomers now.
Yeah, well, so you see what I'm saying. So they use these examples to derail the whole thing
Mhm.
because for whatever reason they're against it and they're using anything they can as, oh, see, this is why. This is why you should. This is why you can. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I don't like.
So you're okay with giving kids?
Hormone blockers, no.
Oh.
I just said that was child abuse.
Yeah.
Because a kid isn't developed enough. Nobody, like I said, there may be a handful of people that argue with that, but that's the most extreme.
Right.
And then to use those handful of people to bring down every other trans person.
I don't think they.
Okay,
Joe
so
Rogan
what?
wasn't doing that.
So what about this? So nobody thinks you should do anything with children. Okay, that's not an extreme view. I would say even most trans people feel that way, right? It's only the most extreme of anything that thinks it's okay to do anything with children. Okay, but what about everybody else? What about if you're older and you want to take hormone blockers and have the surgery and do all those things? Well, if you use the children's example to do away with that completely, what about adults that want to do it
I don't
but
think
now
they said
can't?
they wanted to do it out completely. What he was arguing was not to do it so early. And
Yeah.
to let the child develop
I think that's
a little
completely
more.
fair.
and
Who's
become-
going to argue with that? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then you say, oh, but people do. But it's such a small fringe of people do.
Right.
You know, that it's not, you can't really be like, oh, well, all trans, no.
Nobody said all trans.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
Right.
what's the argument exactly? I don't understand.
Oh, that it does happen, and it is legal, and it should be looked into. Maybe there should be something where you got to wait until the child is a certain age before you can start doing these type of things.
Yeah. It's like age of consent, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing with like alcohol or cigarettes. You can't buy them.
Yeah, exactly.
Until you're 18 or 21.
Then I must have misunderstood because I don't think anybody would argue with that. You know?
Right.
That's pretty common sense, middle of the road. Everybody would say the exact same thing, you know? Yeah, they're too young. It's just like buying alcohol or
Right.
renting a car. You need to be a certain age to do
Because
it.
I'm in the same lane as you are. It's like if you want to do what you want to do, then by all means, It's
Yeah.
like,
But child abuse, that's one of those things that crosses the
oh
line.
yeah, they use that as a way to demoralize or
Demonize.
Demonize, thank you.
Yeah, trans people.
Trans people, right?
Yeah, and that's what I thought you were going
No.
to. And I'm like, wait a minute. No.
Wasn't
Because
saying that.
again, I would say, I bet you the vast majority of trans people would say the exact same thing. They would say, no, a child is too young. I was confused when I was that age. I didn't know if I was gay or straight or a man or a woman. I didn't know what I was or what I wanted. It's not until I grew up now that they're like these trans people, that I knew what I wanted to
I
be.
definitely knew what I wanted as a kid.
I knew what I wanted as a kid too. Nope, I'm not going to argue with that. I would say that I've actually gotten into more things as I've gotten older than I ever thought I would as a kid. But I was mostly straight as a kid, and I'm mostly straight as an adult. I don't think anybody would argue with that. I knew exactly what I wanted, even from a young age.
Right.
And that is the argument that I'm sure this small fringe would make.
Oh yeah.
You know, but I still, you know, like, it's like giving a kid a tattoo, getting a kid a boob job. You know, a lot of these things you can't do, you know,
Yeah.
no matter how much the kid wants it,
Yeah.
you know, and giving kids hormones and shit. I bet you it's a very few doctors, because you can't just give them the drugs. You have to get it prescribed by a doctor.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I bet it's really hard. It's probably a lot easier now because you can go online
Right.
and get these Chinese drugs or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and nobody knows, or you know, like that's just the world we live in. But going to like a doctor in America and getting them to prescribe these drugs, you know, that's where you're going to run into a lot of your problems. I would say.
Never really looked into it, so I don't know.
I've never looked into it. It's not like we're talking about testosterone boosters here or something. I never looked into it.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's true. Maybe once I go a little more gray.
Uh-huh.
Instead of the wisdom stripe, you know, I'm actually gray.
What is testosterone anyway?
I guess a chemical your body releases to promote muscle growth and probably some sort of aggressive behavior.
Aggressive behavior.
Well, I'm sure it's something to that effect. You know,
I
something
think you're
that,
thinking of steroids.
well, because that's basically what steroids are.
Testosterone?
Well, you know, because it's like, what would you call it? Like drive?
Yeah.
You know, like the ability for a man to do violence. Like, you know, there's something innate to that. Men can be monsters, right?
Right.
The only way to fight them is other monsters.
Uh-huh.
So every man has to be capable of incredible violence because you're going to have to protect what's yours.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality.
Like Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. So at some point, you know, that's something that's in everybody. And that's not just men, that's in women too. You've heard the mama bear trope. If somebody's going to hurt a woman's child, you can't tell me she's not going to go insane.
Right.
I know plenty of women that I would fear if you tried hurting their children. I mean, there's nothing they wouldn't do, you know, just like a man, right? So everybody's capable of incredible violence. And I bet that's probably something, just like, you ever been in a fight? Or you ever been in an accident and you get an adrenaline rush?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That, like,
Right.
you know, that, what is that for?
Right.
That's for you to take those initial 5 blows while you put all you got into it before you start feeling it again.
Right.
You know, that's, I mean, there's a reason it's there. That's that fight in you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm sure it's something along with that. I mean, I'm not some sort of biochemist or some sort of hormone doctor, as best of my understanding. That's what I'm thinking. So what's the ETA say? All right, that's actually just about perfect. What's it say? We'll get there right at 2 o'clock?
1:58.
Yeah, that's check-in's 2 o'clock. So what's it say?
Oh, it says a steroid hormone that stimulates development
steroids.
male secondary sexual characteristics produced mainly in the testes, but also the ovaries and epidural cortex.
So that's, you know, just like I said, something that gives you that thing that makes you that man. And it was probably, you know, if you go back a few thousand years or tens of thousands of years, it might be, so where are we getting off? Flamingo, right?
Yeah.
It might, you know, be a little more topical to your everyday life, where you, like, you know, might have to fight off some monsters, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's probably been dulled a lot over the past 100 or 2 years, especially, since the Industrial Revolution, I'm sure. But it's still there. That monster in all of us. What's up?
Oh, no.
Oh, I could use some leg stretching.
Should we?
Stop it whenever you want. Wow. I made that no problem. It's called threading the needle, you Yuli. 45. He was actually out front of this too. My brother was taking a trip to Vegas with his other friends and got pulled over in Podunk, Arizona. It was outside of Kingman, in between, what is this, Wickiup?
Yeah.
In between Wickiup and Kingman, right? So even smaller towns than both of them. And he said the cop was hiding behind a tree, and he got about 2 miles down the road. He thought he made it, but the cop came flying up behind him and pulled him over. So we got a ticket, no big deal, $250. So he went to go pay the ticket online,
Yeah.
and it was online $2,500.
Oh, wow.
So he called up the court, and he said he had to wait online for a long time because they never have enough people working there, thanks to Corona or whatever. And so he talks to the clerk, and the clerk says, well, if that's what it says online, then that's what you have to pay. Or you can come in and pay in person, and it'll only be $250. And so he was like, you fucking bet. So he ended up driving his happy ass back out there again, just to pay it, obviously, to save all that money.
Right.
But man, that's like what, halfway to Vegas?
Right.
Ugh. So we're always extra weary
They
on
did
this
that
stretch.
on, just in case he gets caught doing something again.
Yeah, well, if you're coming cross country, I mean, I'm sure there's a certain amount of people that get caught up in the speed trap from all over the country because everybody's going to Vegas, right?
Right.
So I'm sure a lot of people don't want to hassle with it.
Right.
Enough of them probably just pay the fee and then just, okay, I'll just bite the bullet. It's better than going back out there. So I would probably make another trip to Vegas myself. Is probably how I would deal with it. You just stop by on the way.
Right.
Make it on a Friday.
Oh, to go pay your ticket and then you just keep going.
And then just go to Vegas. I'll fucking teach you. Here we go. I'll be looking at some different dash cam stuff.
Yeah.
Setups.
Oh, not just Coolio died, but the Queen.
Okay, let's go there. So, they've been kidnapping children for years. Blood doping the Queen with orphan's blood.
That's how she was able to stay.
That's how she was able to stay so young for so long. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. It's like The Simpsons season 1, remember, where Bart and Monty Burns have the same blood type?
Oh, yeah.
So they put some of Bart's blood into Burns, and he can like do backflips and fucking.
Yep.
I haven't felt this young in decades.
Well, I mean, that's already been proven.
Yeah, isn't that? I'm sure that's what blood doping is.
Yeah. They do blood transfusions.
Yeah. Because I guess there's some sort of lactic acid or something that builds up in your blood when you work out, right? And this is, as far as I know, is how the blood doping on the sports side works out. So then you swap it out with somebody who hasn't been working out, and they don't have this chemical buildup in their blood. So then basically you get to do it again. So you get twice the workout. Or something to that effect. I'm not 100%. I'm not a blood doping doctor, so I couldn't tell you the technicalities of it. I just like to wildly take guesses at it based off of my limited knowledge and experience.
Right.
half of it's what it's named after. Part of its context I've taken from listening to news on the radio.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm all over the board with it.
Yeah. They were saying that, you know, as time goes on, technology gets better, that they're getting to a point where your 80s will be your new 30s.
Well, I remember seeing something when we were kids, and they were saying like our life expectancy is supposed to be through the roof, right? They're saying what 90 something or something now. But when I was a kid, it was like 120.
But it's been going backwards now.
Well, no, that's just the average. If you were in really good health, you could probably live a lot longer.
Oh, okay.
But because people are so unhealthy, the average age is low. The life expectancy on that front. Not how far, like, you know, like based off of the average, how long you're supposed to live. I'm surprisingly close to retiring. I was just talking to my mother about it. Because I've got 13 years left, which will have me retiring in my early to mid 50s.
Really?
Yeah. And so my mother, she's not going to get to retire until she's 67. Which is still a few years away from her. Which is unfortunate. I think that's the age now, 66 or something, 67 to collect Social Security. So that's basically the retirement age.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're even relatively healthy, you should probably be able to live to be 100, right?
You could?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never really felt my mortality. When I was a smoker, it was different. When you smoke cigarettes, you're like, I'd be happy to live to 60. But, like, literally the second I stopped smoking,
Yeah.
I felt like I was never going to die. You know? I feel so much healthier now.
Yeah, you used to smoke a lot too.
Yeah, so it's like, it's crazy. Just like what it's done to, like, my outlook on life.
Right.
You know?
It's brightened up.
Yeah.
Not that constant smoke in your eyes.
It wasn't so much that, it's like smoking with it brings like a sense of dread, because you're always like, you know, like it's that whole last cigarette mentality, you know, like smokers, they just have to have that one last cigarette, right?
Right.
So you're always like, the whole world could go to shit as long as I get my one last cigarette. And like I said, it has it in the habit, built-in dread, you know,
Right.
a sense of impending doom. And part of it is because you smoke, and your body knows, like, every cigarette's a minute off your life or whatever, right?
Oh, that's true.
So
They think you could get those minutes back.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure. I smoked for nearly 20 years. I quit. I feel great.
What got you started smoking? I never smoked.
What initially started me smoking? Probably the circle I was in. Everybody was kind of a smoker. I took a girl to a dance in high school, and you know, like I asked her out, and she said yes, and I took her to the dance, and then it turns out she didn't want to be there with me. She wanted to be there with my friend. And so once we got to the dance, the actual dance, she started acting weird and like, oh, I'm not your date, I'm everybody's date. Oh, and like it literally blew me away. So I totally left her, just right there.
Yeah.
Like, see ya.
Right.
And it was funny too, because she was at my dance. It was at Camelback.
Right.
But she didn't go to Camelback. So when I ditched her at a dance where she didn't know anyone, except for the people that we came with.
Right.
And once I ditched her, I just left. Everybody left too. So I just left her.
Do I know her?
No, you don't know her.
Oh, okay.
She was a church girl.
Oh, okay.
And so I went out to the parking lot and started smoking. Because it was cool. And then my friends came out and we smoked some.
Yeah.
And then I left. Like I said, I totally just left. It was hilarious. But yeah, it was weird. I don't know. Because, I don't know. It was just strange. It's so hard to ask a girl out when you're like 16.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then to have such a weird communication.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I thought you were my date. I thought you came with me.
Right.
And you were my date, but oh, okay. Well, you have fun with that. It was easier to smoke. And especially in high school. It was pretty cool. I
started when you were
16.
16.
And I smoked till I was about mid-30s, roughly 34, 35, something like that. Right in there somewhere.
Wow.
So just about 20 years. At that point when I quit smoking, I had smoked longer than I hadn't smoked. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I spent more of my life as a smoker than I had as a non-smoker. And you know, like, much like you, right? I had a job in high school. I was one of the kids that worked. And I like got my own car.
Oh yeah.
And so I had access to all kinds of stuff. Again, this was a simpler time. So like I had one of my stepdad's faded old IDs, and we could just drive through the liquor store and hand him the ID in the liquor store and never had any problems.
Yeah, we used to do that.
Yeah, and also I don't know if you remember Muhammad. He ran it was like a Muslim immigrant, right?
Yeah.
And he ran a convenience store. It was like 32nd Street Indian School, roughly.
Yeah.
It was just south of 32nd Street,
Well, don't get Muhammad in trouble.
or just south of Indian School on 32nd Street.
Yeah.
But he used to sell. He wouldn't sell me alcohol because he knew I wasn't really 21.
Right.
But he would sell me cigarettes and he would sell me porn. And so, yeah, so because he had like a weird. It was like, you know, because convenience stores back in the day were more like, you know, like an all-around store.
Yeah.
When you go there, they have like, you know, like actual food stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, it was not like a Circle K. It was more like a little tiny grocery store. And so back in the day, you know, we didn't have phones with porn on it.
Right.
You know, and the internet still wasn't that great. You know, you have to use AOL and, you know,
Yeah, dial
trying
up.
to download a movie online or something. It's like, no. So I had physical VHS tapes.
Here you go, Jake, your usual.
Yeah, pretty much. A couple packs of cigarettes and a porno. So that's my Friday night. And so, you know, just having a car gave me access to stuff like that.
Right.
And having money because I worked,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like bought my own car, paid for my own gas. Especially when you're in high school and you have a job, it's like a couple $100 a week.
Yeah.
You're like fucking rich, especially the high school kids.
Mm-hmm.
I always had alcohol. I always had cigarettes. We used to throw parties on Wednesday,
Yeah.
just a Wednesday party because it was Wednesday. Oh,
While we were in high school, did that one kid have that house alone to himself? Remember the one?
yeah, his name was David. And no, he didn't have it alone to himself. It was actually his grandpa's house. But his grandpa was kind of like an invalid. And so he lived there with his grandpa to do stuff for him, like shop and do the dishes and things like that.
Because he would throw parties.
Oh my God, all the time. That was great.
No adults. It was just all the kids.
Yeah, you couldn't go into the living room. Because
Right.
that's where the grandpa was. He was
Right.
always in the living room.
So it was always the backyard.
Yep, the backyard, and there was a bathroom. And yeah, we tore down that poor kid's fence because there was like a fire pit in the backyard. But
Yeah.
nobody ever had tools, you know, like nobody brought wood. So we had a wooden fence. So
Yeah.
it's like it started with like one plank, and then pretty soon the whole fucking thing. And the house behind it was empty.
Yeah.
And so we used to throw beer cans over the fence. And then they started to show the house, and there was like 1,000 beer cans on the other side of the fence.
Score.
But this is back in the day. What are you getting? 35 cents a pound?
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
No.
I don't know. I think I saved cans for a while. Like, oh, okay. You know, extra money's extra money, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it away. But, you know, you take so many cans, you get $20. And it's like, it wasn't even worth the effort of me putting them into bags for that kind of money.
Because that's at like 30 cents an hour.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to spend hours, like, because by the time you save up enough cans to go in,
Yeah.
you have to re-bag all the old cans because they've been sitting in bags outside for 2 months, you know?
Right, the bags
And so,
disintegrate.
yeah, so you have to re-bag everything. And then just the act of re-bagging it to take it in, I use more trash bags and more time. All of a sudden, I'm underwater on recycling cans. It's like, what is this? What is this? That was a weird one, too. It's kind of long. Off-road.
It's a Toyota.
I really wanted one of those. I like that front.
Tacoma. Tacoma?
Yeah, the Toyota truck.
Yeah.
The bigger one. Tacoma's good. That's like the boy racer equivalent.
Right.
Tundra would be cool too, even though the price difference is not that much.
No?
Yeah, it was only like $5,000 more to get the Tundra, but it could have been the model of Tacoma. The cheapest Tacoma they sell brand new is about $20,000, and that's with it's a king cab, but there's no seats in the back, so it has little opening doors in the back,
right?
But there's just nothing there, and that was the cheapest model they had. $20,000, but no back seats.
That's how it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we drove around in my dad's truck. Yeah, no seats in the back. So we just all squish in.
Talk about a simpler time, huh?
Yeah.
I used to drive that old S10 that had the little fold-down seats in the back. That was always fun.
Oh, yeah. And then before the truck, he had a green Ford Econoline. With 2 bucket seats in the front.
Yeah.
And that's it. And he had wood planks in the back.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so we'd go to like the river or family outing or whatever. It was my mom and my dad in the front.
The seatbelts on.
Right. And then the kids in the back with your uncles, your aunts, and your grandma. And so he would start driving. It's a fucking van, right? So no suspension or whatever. So you feel everything. It had the wheel wells exposed, so you'd sit on it for a little bit, but those things would get just really hot. So your ass would get really hot. So you get off of it. The only thing you could do was lay on the ground.
Lay spread eagle on the ground.
Yeah.
So you don't slide around in the turns.
Good times.
Good times. Good times. Yeah, my parents fucking sucked. That's all I can ever think. Why do you always bounce over the bridges like that?
That's a good question.
You think it's the cement as opposed to the asphalt? It seems strange.
Right. So
strange.
What are you thinking? Dinner tonight or?
Okay, you want to talk about our, we'll call this On the Road to Vegas?
Sure.
Okay, so plans tonight, we're going to go to that noodle house for lunch that Gary recommended. That sounded great.
Okay.
So whatever the name of that was, I'll call him and get the name.
It's in, I think it's in Cosmopolitan.
Okay, the Cosmo?
Yeah.
Noodle house at the Cosmo?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll look it up when we get there.
Okay.
So that'll be lunch. Then we'll probably go check into our hotel or vice versa.
Right.
We've got an Airbnb, 2-bedroom condo. So I just want my own room. I don't know. I feel like I'm that age where I just should have my own room. Yeah, and I don't want to sleep in the same room as any one of your friends. I'm just going to say that right now.
Late at night, go in, there's 2 beds.
Oh!
Whoops,
Well,
I thought this was my bed.
I thought I got the one closest to the rear. When we were younger and we started these trips, every year we get better, right? Every year you learn what to do, what not to do.
Oh, yeah.
All these different things. What's worth spending your time and money on. Because you're only there. That's why we initially started going for 3 days. We don't go up on Friday and come back on Sunday. We go up on Thursday and come back on Sunday.
Right.
We've even tried going up on Thursday and coming back on Monday. That's too long.
It's too long.
But going up on Thursday, we have an easy Thursday. So like I said, we'll do lunch, maybe a nice dinner because it's just the 2 of us tonight. Light drinking, definitely not staying out too late. Everybody else is coming up on Friday, so Friday will be our big night. I don't think we've actually made any plans. I think we're going to do anything but the high roller.
Okay. Right.
But Friday night will be a pretty heavy drinking night. That's like the night where we really go all out. And then Saturday, we call that our Gentleman's Day. And that'll be sleeping in, very light, if any, drinking. We do a nice steakhouse. Where were you talking about going this time?
Primal.
Primal, where's that?
Yeah, it's on. It's right next to the Strip.
Okay.
It's next to the Wynn.
So just off Strip on the Wynn?
Mhm.
Behind the Wynn?
Behind the Wynn.
Yeah, so that sounds like perfect. Because we're staying just off Strip. We're on the east side of the Strip, just behind the Virgin.
Right.
Yeah, less than a mile from the Virgin, because that's where some of our friends are staying. So that's where we have. We wanted to be close to them in the Strip.
It's last year's steakhouse.
Last year's so last year we did the Outback, off Strip Outback, which was actually really nice, just because there was no wait, so you got to sit.
Yeah, there's a reason why there's no wait.
But that was just for fun. I just didn't want to wait, I guess. I don't remember why we did that one. But it was fun. It was actually the first time I ever had Outback.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never had a Bloomin' Onion before?
I'd never had a Bloomin' Onion before. No, I did not. That was my first time.
How was it?
It was alright. It was not as flavorful as I thought it was going to be. The sauce, they have like a weird spicy mayonnaise sauce or something like that. That was pretty good. But the onion itself was surprisingly bland.
It's really hard to pick them.
Yeah.
Because the breading.
Some of them are easy right at the beginning.
Sometimes, yeah.
But once you get past all the easy ones, halfway through the whole thing just falls apart. It's a gimmick. And that's really what it felt like when I was eating it.
Yeah.
I like onion rings. And I like onion strings, they call them, where they like julienne and onion. So it's like onion french fries kind of.
Right.
Those are good. But the Bloomin' Onion, like I said, I was disappointed. But I guess that's probably, it's the Outback, right?
Right.
Everybody was disappointed with that meal. Well, I guess the price wasn't too bad. I think mine was $30, $35.
Yeah, I think everybody.
Steak and seafood.
Was very.
It was very reasonably priced. Nobody's arguing with that. But we've done expensive.
In 2018, we went to the Bellagio.
The Bellagio one was nice.
Yeah, to go eat a steak there.
And so we do that. We try to do at least one nice meal. Usually the Bellagio equivalent. For some reason, I think there was a really long wait. I think we tried a bunch of places, and we even, because we're getting on in years, won't call the day before and try to set something up, or call hours before.
Right.
And we were having a problem actually booking something. 2001, it was the first year a lot of people went back to Vegas.
2021.
2021, I'm sorry, was after the Rona.
Right.
So it was surprisingly busy. And so everywhere we went, we were running into that issue where everything was booked up.
Yeah, everybody was all pent up.
And everything was understaffed.
Right.
Because it was that first year where everybody had quit, moved on. So everywhere you went, they didn't have enough people. And then it's extra busy because everybody's going out and doing shit after the pandemic. So it's pre-pandemic levels with pandemic staff. And so I think it was almost a necessity at that point. Plus, if I remember correctly, we went pretty hard last year. I remember getting pretty fucked up. And I think I was pretty hungover and just wanted food. And it was like, no, wait, there's where we're going.
Oh, yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
It was a hard one. And just like everybody else, I'm sure, we were pent up last year. And that's why we went so hard. Or at least I did.
You did.
I usually do. I don't have many opportunities to really cut loose. Responsible adult with a child. So,
likewise.
Exactly, my pain. That's why we don't fucking party every night.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not in your 20s anymore. And I feel like I could, because I really don't drink that much, so it's not like I'm consecutively drinking. I could party every night, but you can't really maintain that lifestyle with a family. I have to get up at 4:40 in the morning for work. So it's like 8:30. Oh, okay. In bed by 8, asleep by 9. To be up at 4:40 in the morning. I could probably cut it down, wake up at 5, but I don't want to rush.
No.
One of the things I do is just kind of, you wake up and you just kind of lounge about for a little while.
Right.
I like having that 20 minutes of stretch time to
right.
Whatever.
Little me time.
Yeah, play on my phone. Usually the first thing I do is get on Facebook and see the bit over the night before. Yeah, get on some conservative pages or mostly libertarian pages at this point, and talk a bunch of mad shit and see your response. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I've tried to follow some of the conversations you've had
Yeah.
on Facebook, and they won't let me see older or certain conversations.
Well, some of them, what I'll
Like
do
between you and another person, and
Yeah.
it's just like 3 messages, and clearly there's more to
Yeah,
it.
there's 100 fucking posts back and forth. What I do is I bait people into saying or things that go against toss, right? So I'll get them to say something inappropriate, mostly just provoke them into calling me stupid or ignorant or whatever,
Right.
and then I report them for bullying. And so they get a month ban from Facebook. Not a ban, they get a restriction on their account, so they can't post anything.
You're gonna go to 40 West.
Okay, is that like this next right?
Yeah.
So get in this right lane right here.
Yeah.
That's it right there?
No. This way. Just keep following the truck.
Okay.
I thought when you went like this, you were
Okay, so keep following the truck. So we're already on the right freeway.
Right.
Yeah, so like I said, I'll provoke people into doing something against TOS, and then I'll report them for it. And there's a bunch of things you can get reported for. But bullying is the big one. That's what gets you your 30-day account suspension. And it makes it so you can still see stuff, and people can still post to you, but you can't respond in any way other than to view the post. So after I know, I get them their suspension, because then they stop posting stuff. And I'll post to them, and it'll get weird where it'll say they're posting back, but nothing will show up.
Yeah.
Because it takes the system a minute to catch up.
Okay.
And then after that, I like, okay, I hope you learned your lesson. You see how easy it was for me to get this done to you? Now come, because on my little profile it says "fuck around, find out." You know, and that's exactly what I mean. Because like I said, I provoke people into doing stupid things, and then I report it, and I get so much joy out of it. Oh my God! Because I know, having been provoked into getting suspensions myself, exactly what you can get away with and exactly what you can't. And so sometimes if you're arguing with somebody who considers themselves an intellectual, I'll purposely misspell words. And then when they'll call me stupid or illiterate or ignorant, and those are all hot button bullying terms. Report for bullying. And then even the algorithm will see it, and it'll have stupid or ignorant or dumb or whatever in the thing, and it gets flagged automatically. So then they get an account suspension. Then it gets reviewed by somebody, which they just started doing again.
Yeah.
When the rotor was on, it would just suspend them. It was all automatic. But now they actually have people reviewing it again. And as long as they call you stupid or ignorant or illiterate, they get suspended. It actually counts. And so that's one of my favorite tactics, because I'll be arguing with somebody and I'll be bringing up like valid points, like, oh, okay. And instead of arguing back, they start attacking how I like my grammar, or oh, you don't use punctuation.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, whatever you don't understand, just ask nicely and I'll explain it to you. But I'll misspell explain in a way that you can understand.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, look at this ignorant piece of shit. He can't even spell explain. Look at how dumb you are. And then, boom, report for bullying. And then usually I'll go back and forth, because once you can provoke them, they'll usually do it over and over again. And each time they do it, that counts as another strike. So if I can get them to do it 2 or 3 times in the 15 minutes it takes for the robot to catch him, after I report it, because there's like some lag time, that's it. Then they're boom. And if I can get them 3 or 4 times, they'll be out for a month, easy, if not longer. And then once you come back, you'll go 90 days where you'll post things and they won't show up, because you notice it'll say like most relevant posts.
Yeah.
You click on all posts, and then you can see a bunch of posts for people that are just coming off suspension. You know, so I like to, you know, that's kind of what I do.
Right.
And that's what I do for fun. So I'll get on like a pro-Trump page, and I'll be like, oh yeah, you know, Trump threw the deficit out the window, and he put more, you know, he raised the deficit more than Obama did in 8 years, in 4. And then somebody will try to argue with me, and technically that's not true, because Obama did just a little bit more in 8 years than Trump did in
his 4
4.
years, right.
But they're basically the same.
Right.
But, you know, oh, he only did $100 billion less. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, okay, only $100 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In 8 years.
Yeah, exactly. And then then people will respond to me.
Right.
Because I don't like to go respond to them, because then they can get you for spamming. Because if you look up the rules for spamming, it's not just, oh, I did a post 500 times.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you send messages to people who don't want messages sent to them.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if, say, somebody posts something stupid, and I'm like, oh, well, this is why you're wrong, they can report you for spamming, because you posted on their post. Then they'll report you for spamming, and then your post will get taken down. It won't do anything as far as, like, you know, you can't post or whatever,
right.
But it'll just erase that one post.
Oh, okay.
And so if you respond to somebody else, they have the ability to take away yours. If somebody responds to your post or your comment, if somebody comments on yours, they don't have that ability. You know what I'm saying? So you just learn, just through literal trial and error.
Right.
And I've had my account suspended plenty of times. And the first couple times you do it, there's no problems. After you do it a few times, you start getting a week, 2 weeks, a month. They start censoring your posts even after you're not suspended for 3 months. So, you know, I've learned to not myself, like, say anything that can be held against me. I can imply a lot of stuff, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it.
I had a buddy. He would constantly get suspended off of Facebook. And it was super right-wing, heavily into QAnon and Trump, because Trump supported.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he would start arguing with people online, and he'd start calling them, like, you know, like you said, stupid, and you're a demon crap. Or,
there's a lot of, you can say a lot of dumb things.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, you think, oh, look, I'm owning the libs. But I would let you do it a few times and report you a bunch.
And he and then one time, you know, I occasionally would talk to him on Facebook here and there. But where I would see all of the shit that he was posting. And like I said, he was heavy on the QAnon stuff.
You know, it was funny.
And he would he plays paintball.
Okay.
Professionally, or did.
Or at least competitive. Because professional means you get paid for it.
No, he got paid for it.
Then that's professional.
He was a professional paintball. So he goes on to say that he goes, we are at war with the satanic cultists. And so I go, oh, is that a new paintball group? He fucking hated it. He took my posting, what I said, and started posting it on other stuff. Saying, like, look, you see?
These are what those liberals are doing.
Yeah, it was like that, you know, close-minded, I can't believe, you know, my friend. I'm like, it was a joke. Why are you taking this so seriously? I thought it was a funny joke. And so I messaged him privately. I said, you know, I don't appreciate what you did. It was just a joke. And so, good luck on your holy war.
Good luck on your jihad, fucker.
And so I unfriended him, and I was like, man, I don't want to deal with this crap. I don't want any more screenshots of me talking. Right, exactly. Because anybody who read that would have, I mean, obviously it's a joke. But anyway. But he would get constantly banned. And I think it's because of what you were saying. You know, he would start berating people.
Because something I like to do too is I'll say, okay, how about this? You show me exactly what convinced you, that made you so sure. I mean, you had to have read it somewhere. You had to have seen it somewhere. Post the link here so I can read what made you so sure. And then I'll actually read it. You know, because usually it's like a minute-long read, 2-minute long read.
Yeah.
If you actually read it, it's an opinion piece, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then so I can point out all their flaws, how it's a tabloid magazine, how it's an opinion article, you know, like all these technical terms
Right.
that there are for, you can't just call anything a news article, right? There's like certain criteria that it has to meet. And then if you look up like the definition of a tabloid, there's a reason a lot of these publications call themselves a tabloid, because they can post lies basically and not have it, you know, not get in trouble for it.
Right.
Because you can't be a news organization that posts things that aren't true. They have an FCC or whatever. Somebody reports you, they look it up. You could get your license pulled. Then you can't call yourself a news organization.
Right.
So there's a reason, you know, things have specific designations. And so when I'm like, prove it, and then they post stuff, I can tear down their, well, here's where your link is so stupid. And then, you know, point out the problems. Okay, so that's, once they post their link, report it for fake news, because that's one of the options. There's like 100 things you can report somebody for. You know, right click on a comment or hold it down and it'll bring up like a report menu. Then there's like a drop down and it's like 20 things.
Yeah.
And then you click on that and there's subcategories. And so I just do stuff like that all the time. And then something that's funny is Facebook Messenger and Facebook are two different things. So I'll get people suspended on Facebook, and they'll shoot me a message on Messenger.
Right.
And then I'll get them reported on Messenger because they'll say even more ridiculous things.
Right.
Or I'll, you know, provoke them into doing things. I got into some little back and forth with some guy one time,
Yeah.
and he actually reported me, which was really funny because I got my account suspended. But he posted a picture because I was making fun of his profile picture.
Okay.
And I was like, you look like you just sit around on your ass all day. And so he posted a picture and he's like, oh. But the thing was, like, his pants were kind of puffy.
Yeah.
And it looked like he had really big hips. So I, like, took a screenshot of it and put a line where his shoulders were and a line where his hips were. And I was like, this is where the term baby bearing comes from. Because your hips are so much bigger than your shoulders.
Yeah.
And he reported me for bullying, which is initially...
He got you.
Yeah, but I know he was crying. Like, I could just feel it. Because he reported me, he blocked me,
Yeah.
he did all these things. And I was like, oh, God, I know I hurt that man.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, I kind of felt bad. And sometimes that actually happens. I got into it with a male nurse one time.
He made fun of my birthing hips.
Well, because, you know, I don't like to, that's kind of like a low blow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like to make fun of people's physical appearances. I like to make fun of their beliefs. You know, because you choose what you believe.
Yeah.
You know, far more than you choose how you look.
Right.
You know, there's not one person in the world that wouldn't change something about the way they look. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's like, yeah. So I try to high road it. I can't always. I'm not perfect. You know, there's sin in me. Let's say I can't help it. Sometimes I want to go low. I don't think that's in and of itself makes me a bad person. I'm not a big fan of karma,
Yeah.
you know, because I don't like those kind of beliefs.
Right.
But I kind of have my own moral scales in my head. And I feel like, well, occasionally I'll do something wrong. Maybe I can balance it out with good or something, you know, to that effect. I do more good than I do bad, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how to put it into words. Articulate my beliefs. I'm going 90 miles an hour.
I've seen how much gas you had. But...
I'm at a little under half a tank.
All right.
You think we should stop?
No. In Kingman?
409 is cheaper than it was in the city.
You want?
No, I don't want to stop at Kingman. Kingman's a fucking shithole. But to be fair, it's a lot bigger than you think it would be. If
Yeah.
you look up the population, there's a lot of people. I bet you they have a hot topic.
A hot topic?
Okay, so maybe I need to preface this a little bit. I have, now having traveled a great deal over the course of my life, came up with a scale for measuring how populated a city is.
Okay.
And I call it the Hot Topic scale, right? So Hot Topic is a very niche store.
Right.
And so you need a very large population to facilitate a hot topic, right? You need like 1 million people, just as an example.
Right.
Because, so few people are going to be shopping Hot Topic that you need a large population to support one. That's the whole premise. That's
Right.
it.
Okay.
And so Kingman, it's probably a one Hot Topic kind of town. Think of how many Hot Topics there are in Phoenix. Half a dozen, a dozen.
Yeah.
Because it's a big city. If you go to El Paso, for example, while El Paso itself is not a big town, I mean, it is a few 100,000 people. Is it 1 million? On the Mexico side, there's a ton of people too. Mexico side of El Paso, Juarez, is hugely populated. Between El Paso and Juarez, it's one of the largest border towns, most populated border towns in the country. And so there's a surprisingly large amount of people, is what I'm saying.
Right.
El Paso ends up being like a 3 Hot Topic town.
Really?
Yeah, because there's so much spillover from Mexico.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? El Paso would be lucky to support even one, but because there's 3 million people on the Mexico side. Then again, I'm not sure exact numbers. So what are we taking, the 68? Are you sure?
Yes. Yeah, 68.
It says Las Vegas, so 1 mile?
Yep.
Okay. And so that's the whole gimmick. So when we're driving around, me and my wife, I like to drive around travel around driving.
Right.
That's the kind of discussions we have about the towns we go through. Kingman, it's a one Hot Topic town. Parker, don't even get me started. Something else too, I made a mistake. And this is a lesson to be had. So I love taking vacations, right?
Yeah.
I do it all the time. It's literally what I spend all my money on. Vacation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like this, for example, we leave Thursday morning, so we can have a nice leisurely pace.
Right.
Right? So, what I like to do, or have done, or every time you do it, it sounds like a really good idea, is to go to the night before, right? You already have all of Thursday off.
Right.
Why don't we just leave Wednesday night after work, right?
Oh,
Then we
okay.
can spend all day Thursday there. And we've done this before. I've actually tried this.
Right.
It's never a good idea. Last time we were at, was it Lake Havasu? What's the one right up here? Is it? It's not
Yeah.
Tahoe. It's Lake Havasu.
Lake Havasu.
Yeah, it's Lake Havasu, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually the last trip.
Or Lake Mead.
No, I think it was Lake Havasu because
Okay.
it's where Hertzfeld owns that house.
Okay.
I think it's Havasu. It's a big lake town, right? That's its thing. It's like a big touristy destination, and you go up there because they have a big lake up in the mountains, the desert mountains, I might add. And so we go up there, and so I get out of work. Stephanie's not working, so I'm like, let's just go. We already got the car. We'll book a cheap room outside of town for the night. We'll stay wherever. All we need is a bed. So I couldn't find any place in Havasu. Okay, all booked up apparently. Couldn't find any place. We had to go miles out to a place called Parker, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, oh, okay. It was like $120, $130. So I'm like, oh, it's pretty expensive. Oh, it's a suite. Oh, okay, that's why. Only place I could find, right? Probably not true. Cheapest place I could find. Let's be real. $130, more expensive than I paid for the room in Havasu. So we drive up there. It's getting dark because we leave late. It's only a few hours away, 2-3 hours.
Right.
We get there, fucking crack motel. It's like a weekly, where they come with fully furnished and you can rent them out a week at a time.
Yeah.
Run by some Indian immigrants, Indian.
Right.
That's where I guess where the immigrant part comes in. And it was a shithole. It had a ton of furniture in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like extra nightstands and tables. Like it was like a spare room that they filled full of shit.
Right. It was their storage facility that they rented to you.
Yeah, and it smelled like shit. Like they had a dried out pea trap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
So it smelled like fucking sewer gas. Oh, I was so pissed.
Parker.
Yeah, and it was more expensive than the rooms out in Havasu, which is, vacation destination.
Right.
So, okay, so we're there, whatever. Room's fucking nasty. They had a pool. Pool's nasty.
Yeah.
That's why the reason I sold it.
Yeah.
Oh, they got a pool. You guys can stay in the pool. Like, I'm going to let them get in that fucking pool.
That's cesspool.
Yeah. Okay, so next step, let's go out to dinner. Everybody loves dinner. You need to have it when you're traveling.
Right. At
So,
Parker?
At Parker. Well, what are you going to do? You're staying there. I'm going to drive 2 towns over to have a meal. So they got a diner with a lot of reviews.
Yeah.
A lot of local reviews, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
You show up. It's just like Havasu. Fucking racist as shit. Service is awful. It's a small diner, so everybody knows, it's like where all the looks eat. So when you come through, I got people being served behind me. I watch coming,
Right.
Like, it's not right. They're
Right.
not like, oh, here you go. Service sucks, food sucks, no uniform.
How's it parking?
For a town called Parker, the people that live there are Parkers. They can't park for shit. Lokes can't park. I'm just going to say. Unpopular opinion. Whatever you want to say. Lokes can't park. That's all there is to it. I've never been to a place in all my travels where the locals could park. Not one. Point out an example where I'm wrong.
When you said that the hotel or motel was
It was like a motel.
owned by Indian immigrants,
Yeah.
it reminded me of I had to go to Prescott to do a job
Yeah.
up there, and they had us at a sleeping hotel, and it was also owned by an Indian immigrant. And we had, I was the foreman, and we had there was 2 foremans and 2 other crew members
All right.
with us, and they got their own room, and we got our own room. And all of a sudden, the following morning, we hear the owner he's just talking really loud out in the hallway, and we're like, what the hell's going on? And I peeked out, and he's talking to the 2 workers that came with us.
Okay.
And he goes, and he's telling them that they can't be pissing on the pit. There's gonna be a $250 mattress flip fee. And they're like, we didn't piss on our bed. What are you talking about? We didn't. And so he goes, there's wet spots on your bed. You can't be pissing on the bed. And so later on, one of the workers told me, he's like, no, we snuck in beer, like a 12-pack or whatever, and his buddy accidentally spilled.
So they thought it was pink.
Yeah, they thought
it was like
piss.
yellow.
Yeah. I just thought it was hilarious that he said it was a $250
Mattress flipping fee.
Yeah. But that guy sped up as soon as you was trying to go around him.
Is that one of those? Is that what you're thinking?
Felt
Sure
like
felt that way, didn't it?
Yeah.
Why do you drive slow the whole time, and then as soon as somebody tries to go around you, then you decide to speed up?
It's because you're going faster than that.
Yeah, but
Establishing dominance. You will now go faster than me. I set the pace.
and that's where the whole it's a control issue comes into play. But it's like, I don't know. I feel I'm more of a pass-through. I don't want to deal. Why take it so personally? Let them go. I'm happy when people speed around me because I drive pretty quick. There's not a cop that wouldn't pull me over if they caught me on 85 and a 65 or whatever.
Is it illegal to drive around the city with your high beams on? Or is it just frowned upon?
I don't know. I bet you it's going to be illegal because you could blind other drivers and cause issues.
Right.
But sometimes they might not even have their high beams on. It's these new LED lights.
They're high beams. Because you can tell certain cars, your regular driving lights are on the outside.
Yeah.
You have your high beams on, they're on the inside.
I know what you mean. Mostly old people, mostly women.
Or, they have one headlight out, so they'll turn on their high beams.
This will make up for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't seen too many of those, to be honest with you. But like I said, I've seen a lot of old women, and I say old, but I mean like 50-year-old women, drive around with their fucking brights on, and I flash them, and then I've had people, you know, like, so I flash my high beams, and then they try to flash me back, and it dims it because they're like turning off their
high beams, right?
But I've also done that to trucks too, because I've noticed that a lot of these fucking trucks, I'll like, you know, I'm like, oh, this fucking guy, and I'll flash them my brights, and then they'll flash their brights at me, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
It's because our trucks are so much higher, so that
just the regular lights.
So the lights are directly, you know, onto your face.
See, I don't even, because my work truck, I actually need a step to get into it.
Yeah.
Right? I had the garage installed one because I hated hopping up and down. It made me look, it was unbecoming somebody of my stature. To see me hopping up, ooh, don't watch me as I side saddle into my seat. You know, to give me a break. I'm a big tough guy. You can't be like hopping in. And then you hop out and it's like an ankle twist moment. It's like, oh shit, I'm going to land wrong one of these days and fall into my truck.
Right.
So I had them actually installed.
And so it's an auto one that comes out?
No. And there's only one on my side, so it's actually pretty funny. So I was taking my boss around the other day, and I took him out for a drive, and he's not as tall as I am, and he had to literally hop into the truck and hop down. I just thought it was funny because there's not only a running, I think they call it a running bar. There's only a running bar on my side. I've actually been thinking about getting bigger tires for the Boy Racer.
You need to.
They
got stuck last year.
Well, it didn't get stuck. You need to work on your definition, son, because stuck means it couldn't get out.
It couldn't.
I don't remember you digging it out.
We ended up putting rocks and
sticks and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it's still. Yeah, but we still didn't dig it.
I didn't push it.
You didn't push shit. Oh, my sciatica. Don't even. I don't know who you think you're fooling. You keep saying this because you think it's funny. But the Boy Racer got itself out.
Call Gary, see if he can come and get us.
Didn't we have
He's got all-wheel drive. And I called him. And he didn't pick up his fucking phone like always.
See, that'd be a great one to put in.
Yeah.
So we try to get to our old campground. Oh shit, we get stuck.
Yeah.
And then we have to go back and go to the new one. You know, because the funniest moments, you know, have a bit of truth to them or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this one has 70s on it. That's like the circumference or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And my boss, because he used to be a tire guy, was saying I could put 75s on it. He's got 75s. So it'll make it 2.5 inches taller, you know, because it's 5 inches bigger, basically.
Right.
So 2.5 inches on either side.
So,
what?
Does my truck have? No. Are you talking about the...
I'm talking about the physical tire.
The width of the tire or the height?
The height of the tire.
What's 75?
I don't know.
It's not inches.
I don't know. The number is like this. So it goes 200 something, 70, and then another number. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so my boss said that middle number, what's yours? What
70.
So instead of 70, that number can be 75. You know what I'm saying? And that'll make it just a couple inches taller, is what he told me. And that's what he did, because he drives the same truck. It's just a couple years older, but it's basically the same truck. We have the same size rims and the same size tires. And that's what he did to his truck. He bought the next size up in tires, which are the 75s. And so I went and talked to my tire guy about it, and they were saying that he would do it for me for used ones, $48 a piece.
Okay.
But because the Boy Racer has 2 full-size spares, I didn't want to drop $300 or whatever right before I left for Vegas. And I hate to retread old water or whatever, but my wife smashed up the Boy Racer, pulling into my driveway, and so all down one side the Boy Racer smashed up, and because of the way the back panel got smashed in, I can't put bigger tires on there because there's not enough clearance.
Right. Not until you
yeah, not until I get it repaired.
Right.
Which I'm not doing until Christmas. Christmas, so I'm taking it now.
Why so long?
Because I have 2 weeks off, 17 days off for Christmas break.
Oh, okay.
And so Christmas break, New Year's Eve is on like a Friday this year. So
Really?
yeah, so Friday's the 24th.
You think it's raining over there?
Yeah, for sure that's right. Friday the 24th is New Year's Eve. I'm sorry, Christmas Eve. And that's a Friday. And that's the last day I work. Or maybe, no, maybe Christmas. Maybe Christmas is on a Sunday this year. Christmas Eve is Saturday. So the 23rd is the last day I work. And then I have 17 days off.
Nice.
Yeah. And so within that 17 days, because they said it was going to take about 2 weeks to fix the truck. And so I'm dropping off on the 26th because I guess I'm such a cheap piece of shit that I didn't get the insurance where I get a fucking rental car. Because I was like, let's just get it fixed today. I'll drop it off, we'll get a rental. Because, you know, I'm getting it done at the dealership.
Right.
And they have a rental car place there, the collision center does,
Right.
an Enterprise. So I can just pick up a rental there. And the guy's like, oh, okay, yeah, you can do that, but we're not going to pay for it. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I have accident forgiveness, I have diamond, platinum, fucking double star level goddamn insurance, but they're like, oh, but when it's your fault, because my wife told them
Yeah.
she hit a fucking pillar, that, oh, we don't pay for the rental. I'm like, what? That costs extra. And it's like, of course I don't pay for that. Why would I ever get into an accident? That was my fault. Of course their insurance is going to pay for my rental.
Right.
And now look at me. And then it happened at night, right? I was sleeping. And it was like 9-something. They were just getting back from karate.
Right.
And so they went out to get something to eat after karate, I guess, and they were getting home late. And I have 3 spaces in front of my house for cars to park. And she parks in the middle lane, but she parks all the way to my side. So there's 3 equal spots, but she parks on the line on my side. And then she takes my truck, then she comes back, and she has to pull in between the pillar and her car.
Right.
And of course, she cuts too sharp and runs from front bumper to back bumper all the way down the pillar and crushes into Boy Racer all down one side. So I get up because she can't park it because it's stuck around the pillar. So I have to get up and park it. And then I go back to bed because I have to get up at 4:40 in the morning. And then when I wake up the next morning, she gets up because I take a shower in her bathroom. And she tells me, I talked to the insurance company last night. They're going to fix it completely. And because we're such a high tier level, blah, 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 it's accident forgiveness. There's no raise. All we have to pay is the deductible. $500. Okay. And then I'm like, so what did you tell him happened? She's like, I told him I pulled it too sharp and hit the pillar. And I was like, you didn't just tell him you were parked on the street and somebody sideswiped you? Because it counts as her fault.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
So it doesn't do anything to our rates, but it changes the way the insurance treats the accident.
Right.
You know? So it's just like, there you go. That's all you get.
You didn't tell him that something sexy.
Or something. You know,
Right.
I came out of the fucking restaurant and it was all busted in.
Right.
I was parked on the street in front of my house, and I came out the next morning and there was big, you know, smashed up all the way down one side. I mean, you know, whatever. It doesn't really affect me. And she was like, I can't believe how well you're taking this.
Was there a story or something? I remember that someone hit the back of their car, but there wasn't enough damage for the insurance to take care of it. So
Yeah, Stephanie got rear-ended.
So somebody went out with a baseball bat and just smashed it up a little bit more.
That. I have had something kind of like that, where I had taken like a tire iron or a crowbar to part of the car because somebody fucked it up, and then they were coming over to do the appraisal.
Right.
So while I was cleaning it out, I fucked it up a little bit more. But that was back in the day.
Yeah.
They just gave you
Okay.
a few $1,000s for your car. I had this theory when I was younger where I was going to buy, like, I didn't want to make payments, right? You don't want to make $200 payments, especially when you're young.
Right.
So I would, I probably couldn't have qualified for it anyway, because I was young with no fucking collateral and no credit. But I would just buy a cheap car, $1,000 car, you know what I'm saying? And then just drive it literally until it fell apart. And I did that for, a decade probably. And it worked out well.
Yeah.
And I would just drive them, and then they would break down, and I would just abandon it.
Right.
Yeah, I did that multiple times. I bought a car one time for like $800 outside of a car auction, and I drove it for like a year, and then the emissions came due. So I went to go take it to emissions, and there was all kinds of janky shit that the guy before me had done. And so they were saying, because they were looking at the old registration, and apparently in Arizona, if you're up north in a podunk-ass little town called Payson, if your car will drive into the emissions testing center, they'll automatically pass you. And it's not just like, oh, because they're easy, because it's a small town. That's just how their emissions standards are done.
Right.
So if your car can make it to the emissions place, you automatically pass. And so that's where they got the emissions done. And I drove it for a year, not realizing there was a problem. Then I took it in, and there was like all this stuff that had to be done to make it like street legal or whatever.
Right.
And
pass the emissions.
yeah, and it was like I paid $800 for it a year ago. Like, what? I'm not going to put any money into it. So I drove it for a long time with no registration, no insurance,
no license. The license plate was expired.
Yeah, so I got. I was late one night going out to party. It was like 1 a.m, and we were driving from Phoenix to Scottsdale to go get fucked up. And we were already pretty fucked up at this point. And literally we left my friend's house, and like 2 blocks away, some illegal ran a stop sign, and I just fucking T-boned it. And it was bad. Like, both cars were basically totaled. And we were kind of central Phoenix, not in the best neighborhood, right?
Right.
So this apartment that we got the accident in front of just fucking cleared out. Like 20 people came out, and they were all, oh, what are you doing around here, white boy? Oh, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, fuck. My friends, we had drugs and shit on us. Yeah. I was like, here, take this, and they took it and took off running. But I didn't want to just leave the car, right? But it wouldn't go. It would only go into neutral. I couldn't get it to drive, reverse. None of the things were catching. So I could just idle. So I was getting swarmed on, and some fucking cops go driving by, and somebody waves them down, and all the people disperse. And I'm like, this fucking illegal just ran the stop sign, and I hit him and totaled my car. And they're like, okay, do you have insurance? I was like, oh, fuck. And so they're like, okay, we can ticket you both, or we can let you both go. And I was like, oh, god damn it. So I just idled around the corner and then just abandoned the car.
Did you?
Yeah, I walked home. It was already, like I said, I couldn't get it insured. I couldn't get it.
Yeah, it was
I
too much
get
money
emissions.
to fix it.
Yeah, so I drove
Definitely
it
more
literally.
than what you paid for it.
Yeah, I drove it until it fell apart, and that just happened to be a horrific accident.
You know, somebody took it in.
Well, yeah, it actually sat on the corner for about a month. It got the stickers, you know, the big orange tags, saying they're going to tow it. And it was right around the corner from my friend's house. So he went and picked the tags off a couple times, you know, just for fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't even bother. And so I don't know what happened to it. In my mind, I imagine it got picked up by the state. They impounded it and then charged the guy, because it was still registered under the guy I bought it from name. Because I could never get it registered under my name, because I could never get it to pass emissions. And that's part of it. You take your tag.
It says honk if you're horny.
Oh, I wish I would have saw that.
Like,
trying to run them off the road. Honk, honk, honk.
And then you get stuck like this.
This is the fucking worst. So we're now stuck behind 2 idiots towing shit. And it's like one of them's towing like a fifth wheel, and the other one's towing a trailer with nothing on it. And they're driving so slow, blocking both lanes. And this guy's... His sticker literally says Weekend Warrior on it. He's driving something way too big for his fucking truck to handle. Ugh. Playing on his phone. It's like a teenage girl. I swear to God. So,
yeah.
the reason I brought up Stephanie smashing up my truck,
Oh yeah.
she wants to get a bigger truck for herself to drive. She doesn't want to drive her Toyota Corolla anymore because it's too small and people don't respect her.
Right.
She wants to drive a big truck. Specifically, she says she wants to drive a truck so big that when somebody sees her driving it, they're going to be like, imagine how small that guy's penis is.
Yeah. Probably the size of a clitoris.
But she can't even drive this truck. This is like as small as trucks come.
Right.
Where are you going to find a smaller truck than this? You going to buy some weird Yugoslavian fucking truck?
No, they make this. Well, they haven't made it yet, but it's a electric truck. No,
Someday they'll make a smaller truck.
no, there is. It's
Still in the design phases.
You can put a down payment for it. It's a one-seater, but it's a truck.
You sit in the middle. Fuck that noise. So yeah, if she can't even drive this, what is she going to do with a bigger truck?
Oh, you don't buy it. You make it's like a cell phone plan. You make monthly payments, and then there's no annual contracts or anything. So you can sign up for it, and like you don't want to continue paying it.
You just give it back?
You just give it back.
Pay $200 a month to rent it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a lease or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually how I got the Boy Racer. It was a 2-year lease, and I came after that lease was up. 2 years old, it had like 11,000 miles on it or something. One owner,
Yeah.
already came pre-roll-barred and stickered. How could I say no?
Yeah.
A big ass fucking truck. Oh, it makes me angry. But she doesn't want a truck. She wants like a Suburban or something. Like a big ass SUV. It's like, what? You could, she would physically be incapable of driving it. I don't know if she'd be strong enough to turn the wheel. Something that big. And then she couldn't see. Right? Think of the blind spots on that fucking thing.
Get her an Explorer.
No, still too big. That's why I'm like, and I'm thinking something like a RAV4, right?
Right.
Or a CRV if I could afford it. I think that's a good size. It's about the same footprint as your car. Probably just a couple inches shorter than the Boy Racer. Oh, come on, Nevada. There you go.
Took him a while, but he got it.
Yeah, he got it. It's fine. I like how he got over and then sped up. That's nice. At least he got out of the way. You can always tell when people know they're being a jerk. Because when you drive by and try to look at them, they look okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know you did wrong. Feel that shame.
Feel that shame.
They stop it real quick.